The HLTV top 20 is coming out. Who do you think is going to... Oh, sorry. That was from 3 weeks ago when you said we were going to do the next episode on Tuesday. My fault. Because I had this I had this
Life
great
happens,
one.
man.
I had
Life
this great
happens.
one that was like, give me an argument for why Zywoo won't be number one. And you know what?
If it makes you feel any better, I haven't seen the top 20, so I don't actually know.
Give me an argument for why Zywoo shouldn't be top one.
From 2023?
Yeah.
I think Robs was more accomplished, other than the major, I guess, towards the end. And I think that the last like 3 or 4 months of CS2, Robs was easily way better than Zywoo. But the problem is that the first half of the year exists, and Robs was just average compared to what he became. I don't know. There's no real compelling argument. He was just the best. You actually have a list of topics actually, or was that just one more like it's 3 weeks late thing?
No, I do have a list of topics, but most of them are from 3 weeks ago.
Okay, well, use the relevant ones for today, maybe.
Austin, what is a super team?
A super team?
Yes.
Interesting. I think the community would say it's a team with a bunch of
I don't
star
care what
players.
the community would say.
Well, but I was going to say, I think that's like the common belief is that it's a team with star players only on it, right? Like the FaZe 2018 roster, or like the FaZe roster ever since then, actually, every roster of FaZe. Actually, though, I would say a super team is a team where they have somebody who is probably in the top 1% of pros in their role. Like, it doesn't have to be like an actual star player. Like, think about like a Rops, okay? If you have Rops, he could be your star like lurker, like your anchor, right? Like, but you want to have a bunch of people who are the best at their roles, but that doesn't necessarily mean like the super flashy players like Zywoo, Simple, Donk, even now Niko. None of those guys like those are the top of like the star role. You know what I mean? So you could have like, I think a super team was like the Gambit team coming out of the 2020 online era. They were really good at all of their roles. And that's why they were really good. Because even though nobody had ever heard of them, they were just they were pretty solid, yeah?
You have a completely different definition of super team.
Okay. What is your definition of a super team then?
Okay, so a super team, you have to think the point of a super team is you're trying to define a certain set of you're trying to define something, okay? And what you're trying to define is the philosophy of the team being made and the expectations of that team when it gets made. So a super team is a team where you take good players and then you add a bunch more good players on top to the point where it's like, wow, this team is like the best in terms of individual skill. Will they work?
Stacked teams,
yeah,
right?
It's stacked.
Exactly. Yeah.
But I wouldn't say Gambit. The problem with your definition of Gambit 2020 is that you put that team together, they're fucking nobodies. Hobbit is on this massive downswing. Who the fuck is Shiro? They've got who the fuck is Axile?
At the time, but they all became the best. I mean, at least until they weren't. But they were hitting a stride for a while, and I think that's like when I think of a definition of a super team, that's like the first team that I would say I think of other than FaZe would be like somebody who is like easily. You have the most solid players. You probably can't even take them apart and make a new team though. Like you couldn't take like Inters from that team and put him on a roster like FaZe. It just wouldn't work.
You've chosen the worst player on that team.
Okay, you couldn't even take it like an Axile and
could
put
you take
somebody
Shiro
like
and put him on Spirit and would he do well?
I mean, eventually, yeah. But I'm just saying, like, what you took Shiro and Nafany, which were the two like best players on the team. And they both were able to like have success apart from each other.
Axile was
like,
number 3 in the world.
Yeah.
He had a fall off, but that was while he was in Gambit. Cloud9.
They all hit their peak, and it was nice.
I think. Well, okay, so that totally nullifies the following questions. So let's move on. Why do teams hate? Why does everyone hate Inferno now, Austin?
It's terrible. I mean, look,
Why?
okay, if you think about CSGO Inferno, at least the most recent version before CS2 came out, that version of Inferno, it was easily the best pro map ever. I mean, it was consistently being used as the decider in best of threes. Almost no team permabanned it. Every single team that I ever played Inferno. It's like a common, like, that's like the map that you learn how to play Team CS on because it just makes sense. Like, there's no real issues with Inferno. And then they took what made Inferno really good and they kind of just ruined it. I don't know. They made all of the like the I don't know what you want to call them, like the alleys, like they like squished them in. Like if banana is like tiny now, and you can cover it with like one molly. It just kind of takes a lot of the tactical depth that was in like taking the map control and removes it. And I just think that it just sucks. It actually just sucks. Even though the skeleton of the map is the exact same, it just doesn't play the exact, like it should play the same in theory. It just doesn't play even close to the same. So you struggle to take map control because they made it harder because the alleys are smaller. So you want to play site instead, maybe on CT side. But the sites got nerfed. Like pit sucks. Graveyard is gone. The default box is fully spammable. Mini pit, you can't even hide when you're crouched in. B site got nerfed. You can't hide coffin. New box is, well, almost the same, but it's still... I mean, they took all the good spots and they made them bad. And then they made taking map control harder. It just is not fun. It's just not fun. And I think that Valve is either going to have to completely overhaul the map or just remove it. It's easily the worst map that I've ever seen in Counter-Strike.
It's the worst map you've ever seen in Counter-Strike.
Yes, even the older versions of Vertigo, when it first got reintroduced, were better than this current version of Inferno. And I 100% believe that.
I still think Vertigo needs to be removed.
Before Inferno?
Yeah.
Strong disagree.
What do you, I mean, don't you think the new Molotovs on Inferno make a pretty big difference? Like if you had old Molotovs, but new Inferno was exactly the same.
But that's the thing, right? So you have the new Molotovs and you made the area smaller. So it covers like the entire, like it doesn't make any sense. Why would you make the Molotovs bigger and the area smaller that you can stand everywhere?
Is it really smaller?
Yes. If you look at a side-by-side from Banana from Go to 2, it's noticeably smaller.
All right.
It's pretty tough. Like taking Banana, you can literally molly like the old Astralis molly that would get logs and the door cubby.
Yeah.
It was used to be like, oh,
yeah,
it might
but
not hit. Now it always hits.
Bigger.
Now it always hits. And it's like hard to miss it. So I'm not sure. It's you know, it's just not great. It's just not great. I don't really enjoy the way Inferno plays at all, and I think it's reflective in the top level of Counter-Strike. The pros aren't even playing it. I don't think that that's a coincidence.
And the pros are all playing Ancient and Anubis and Dust 2 now.
And those maps are fantastic. Dust 2 is awful. Yeah, Ancient and Anubis is fantastic. Those two maps are beautiful. I hope that they don't get touched. Also, why would you want to remove Vertigo when it's actually playable? The new Inferno isn't even playable.
I think people need to be forced to play the new Inferno. They're gonna...
Okay, but look, here's the problem.
It's like Vertigo did. Everyone hated it for a while, and then they all gave it a chance, and then...
I would love if Valve just overhauled Inferno and we got a better version of it, because I like Inferno. The problem is that this one is just terrible. I mean, think about it. There's literally spawn smokes on CT side that you can smoke off mid. Like, the Ts can't do anything. You can just walk down mid every round. Before the Ts get to T steps, it's smoked.
Mm-hmm.
You could just run down mid every round. That was already really strong in CSGO, and now it's like broken. CT side is, I don't know, it's suffocating because you can't take Banana. The CTs get to take mid every round. That's a new feature. Mm-hmm. And then if you're lucky enough to force them to play back on site, then sure, you might win the round because the sites suck. But I don't know. It's kind of miserable. And then like they removed the skybox, which is cool, but they made like we're playing in downtown Chicago, trying to throw nades across the map. You're hitting skyscrapers for some reason. I'm not sure why. I loaded up the CSGO version of Inferno in CS2, and believe it or not, you could still throw nades the exact same way. You could still throw a new box molly without the skybox. You could still molly like lane. You could still smoke arch. Everything would have been fine. They could have just ported CSGO Inferno over to 2, and it would have been fine.
Yeah, they did fuck up Inferno.
I'm not. I know you're trying to play devil's advocate, but it's fucked, and you know it. Like it's hard to.
The argument against Inferno is that a lot of people, I've seen a lot of people say this now, that man, new Inferno is not actually any different. It's just made people realize and actually re-examine it. You know, I've seen that a bunch of times, which I think is fucking stupid, but. A lot of people are saying that. I've seen it like 5 times that it's actually the same. People are just re-examining it and realizing it sucks.
No, it's terrible. I mean, look, they overhauled Overpass and it's the same. No difference.
No,
They
fuck
overhauled
new
it.
overpass, bro. You know what's fucking fun? I'm
Really?
trying to make a video on Donk, and I'm just literally fucking. I checked, and in 15 gun versus gun rounds, he's thrown the same molly, smoke, and flash all 15 fucking times. Like, what the fuck is this, dude? Every round, smoke T stairs, molly playground, flash over. It's so
Okay, that's
fucking
true.
dumb.
That is true, actually. That is true. That part sucks. I don't like the new A meta. Everything else is the same though.
Yeah.
I mean, it's an overhaul in the same sense that Inferno's overhauled. Like a lot of small things got changed, and the map still plays the same. Inferno, it's not even close to the same map anymore.
Yeah. I feel like
It's
Molly's taking an extra couple seconds to extinguish, and not being one way is really fucks Inferno even harder too. Like if I'm in banana, dude, and someone mollies me, I'm taking 20 damage. Like fuck.
yeah. There's nothing. Yeah, exactly. Because the delay on the smoke
Yeah.
is so bad too. I mean, if that's just a feature, we can get over that. But it doesn't really help Inferno's case because you get mollied a lot. Also, there's still a glitch in CS2, which I'm sure will be fixed, that mollies don't get extinguished for some reason.
Yeah, but that was in CS:GO the whole time also.
No, but that was different. That one was just the smoke would just bounce through the molly and land somewhere else. This one is the smoke lands, but the molly doesn't go out. So
Oh, yeah,
now
I've only
you're
seen
in a
that, like,
smoke
once. Yeah.
and you're on fire and you can't see where you're going.
That did
Yeah, that's
also
the-
happen in CS:GO for a while too, but not.
Yeah, I mean,
They'll
I'm
fix
sure it's
it.
going to get fixed, but that also is not helping the Inferno case right now.
Mhm.
I can't tell you how many times I've been in Inferno and smoked myself and still died to fire. It's been at least a handful of times, 4 or 5 times.
All right, give us an update.
An
You
update.
said the first time around you said CS2 has no problem.
Oh my god, yes.
The second
it's
time
so much
you
better.
said Peeker's advantage. And the
Yep.
third time, now what?
They fixed all of my gripes. I had talked historically about how holding smokes was impossible, and I referenced that clip on Anubis. And the reason it was so hard to hold smokes, and it still is, by the way, but it's a lot better, was because Peeker's advantage was pretty dank. Like, you really couldn't stop somebody from just peeking you and killing you. It was very hard. But in that update that happened while I was away, didn't even get to play it until, you know, the last couple weeks. Like a week ago, I think, is when I got to play the first game with the update. Noticeably better. You can actually hold angles just like you could in CSGO. Now, people are still crying about Peeker's advantage existing, but it's always going to exist because it's online. CSGO had a Peeker's advantage problem. It always existed, and you just played around it. At least that's what I remember. And I'm glad that we finally got to a point now where it's very similar. I mean, it might still be worse in CS2, but it's, you know, I can't tell. But indirectly, like nerfing Peeker's advantage made it so that you can hold smokes again when people come through. What still sucks, this is my gripe, is why is it that when you go through a smoke, there's a cloud on you? Sometimes when people run through a smoke, I can't see, like if I'm still looking head on at the smoke and they come straight through, I might not see them right away and they can just kill me because of that cloud around them.
Yeah.
I'm not a big fan of that. I'm really not a big fan of that. I think that that's silly. But
Yeah, that cloud also causes this weird thing where if you're looking at a smoke from just outside of it, if you jack up your brightness to max, you can kind of see a blur as their smoke cloud moves through the smoke.
Really?
You have to be close to the smoke. But yeah, it's pretty noticeable if you have your brightness all the way up. It's pretty bad.
I think they just need to remove that. I mean, I like that they want it in the game for realism, but it's just nobody wants it. Like,
yeah.
I think everybody would be happy to see it go. I don't think there's any smoke cloud defenders at all. So
I don't know. I'm
hopefully they
guessing the
remove
point
that.
is to remove one ways so that you're always in smoke or something, or the point is
But
so that you
you
can never
don't-
be spotted inside of the smoke.
But
There's got to be a reason they have that.
I think it's just for realism because when you run out of the smoke, you
What do you
keep it
mean
on you
for
a little bit.
realism? You can throw a smoke and they run out as the smoke blooms, and they're standing 5 feet from the smoke, and they're
Yeah, but
covered
that's
in
just.
smoke.
I think that's just a glitch or a repercussion.
I don't think that does anything for realism. It has to be for
Oh,
visibility.
Yeah, I 100% agree. I think it needs to go. Who knows? Maybe they'll remove it and it's gonna be like, oh my god, smokes suck now because yeah, who knows? But yeah,
Yeah.
it's a shame. But other than that, that's like the only thing that I can think of is like smoke play is weird, but not necessarily bad. It's just different, and I don't like it. But I'm sure we can get over that in the future. But holding angles works. The op is also indirectly buffed because of that. No more peeker's advantage fucking me while I'm holding an angle. I like that. Yeah, it's great. The game feels great. I've been playing a lot more. Reminds me a lot of CS:GO now. What do you think about the Zeus change? Huh? Do you think there's ever going to be a world where the Zeus is meta? Been seeing a lot of Zeuses on pistol rounds.
All they changed was that you don't lose it if you kill someone with it, right? That's all that changed.
Yeah. And they added skins.
That doesn't change anything. This is the thing that annoys me. This happened in League of Legends all the time, and it always fucking tilted me. You'd have some shit that was so overpowered, and then Riot would buff it, and then everyone would start playing it, and they'd be like, oh my god, this shit was so overpowered. And then they would nerf it back to where it was before the buff, and then people would keep playing it because it was overpowered in the first place, and then they would have to nerf it even more. And it's like, if it was
overpowered,
I don't think it was overpowered. I just think that the way people are using it doesn't feel like a way they couldn't have already been using it.
But they buffed the Zeus. There's no more hitting somebody for 90 anymore.
Oh,
with
okay.
The Zeus as well.
I thought they just changed it so that it reloaded. Okay.
No, it also reloads, and you always hit for 100 if it hits now.
Okay. Yeah, that is a big change. All right. I'll accept that. I thought they just... I just asked you that just to make sure.
Well, yes. I forgot it until somebody in chat said that. But yes.
Jesus.
It's a big change to the Zeus. Actually competitively viable now, in my opinion. There's a world where full eco Zeus makes sense. Because think about this. Let's say you have a Zeus in Halls on Inferno, if that map ever gets played ever, and you Zeus somebody, you can give the Zeus to somebody else, and they can go try to get a Zeus kill too. You only have to buy one. You know, you get a Zeus, get a gun, and now you have another Zeus that you can set up. But I mean, it's pretty effective. I mean, there's a world where full ecos get out of hand quick with the Zeus.
Valve likes making this shit that makes the game not fun. Like shotguns.
Oh, what? You get Zeus one too many times, buddy?
No, it's just like either they one-shot you or they have no chance of killing you. It's one or the other. It's a binary. It's so dumb. It's like there should be playability. When there's no playability, that's when the game isn't fun. When you just get owned, like that's why playing cheaters isn't fun. There's no playability. You're just dead.
Oh, so you think the Zeus is broken, huh?
No, it's like I think if shotguns, for example, the auto shotty might not be overpowered. It's just anti-fun. You're either close and you're fucking dead, or you're far and they're dead.
It's funny you bring that up. I'm surprised that the auto shotty hasn't been nerfed yet.
It's Valve, man. They like shit that's dumb, and they like off angles. If there should be betting sites. What changes are Valve gonna make when they remake a map? And if you just had add 15 extra off angles, that would be like fucking that would be barely above getting your money back. That would be like 1-to-1 odds that anytime they remake a map, they add 15 fucking shit off angles. Like, what is that first tiny cubby mid on Inferno towards
that one
March?
On the left?
The mini cub? What the fuck is that for? Why does that exist?
It's for the new Zeus, because they added.
And why is there the little fucking ledge? There's like a ledge on the wall top alt that you can peek arch from, but then also like if you're just running down mid, there's a bunch of little fucking planters you can jump on. What the fuck are those there for?
Skill.
They're so dumb.
You know,
there's no reason. Like the window on cash. What the fuck is that there for? Why?
Well,
It doesn't change anything.
Cash, the window doesn't change anything.
It did is make you get fucked if you go mid alone. That's it.
Yeah, basically. I don't know. I will say this though, like, you know how bad the first version of CS:GO Inferno was? In hindsight, not for nostalgia, in hindsight. That first version of Inferno, the release Inferno.
Well, because they had like Inferno SE or something, didn't they? Or was there original release Inferno?
Buddy, I was like in 5th grade. I don't know.
Okay, the main one, yeah.
Yes, that one that
That
I
one
never
was
got the
fucking
chance to
terrible.
play.
Yeah, that
When
one
I
was
looked at
terrible.
that before CS2 released, we had a day of CS:GO where we went and looked at all the old maps on my stream, and we looked at that version of Inferno, and I was like, "Holy fuck! It looks like the new version of Inferno. They both suck. Like they
Yeah.
they have the very similar aesthetic. Everything is very messy for no reason. Like they cleaned it up. Like the last version of Inferno before CS2 came out was so clean. Like it just there was not a lot of random angles. There was nothing that you would like not be able to see people behind. Like I don't know. It seems like they took a step backwards. Like
Well, then you shouldn't
they
have any
made it.
fucking hope they're gonna fix new Inferno. Because
I don't have any hope. I genuinely hope they remove it. I hope they remove it and they just add a new map. And you brought up Cash. I'm sure you saw the new Cash screenshots.
It's gonna be terrible. I don't know why people are so hyped for Cash. It's fucking. It's like Cobble. People forget how bad Cobble was. People forget how bad Cash was. Cash was never a good competitive map. Not for a single moment.
This is what I say every day. Every day people are like, bring Cash, bring Cobble. No. But despite the map being terrible competitively, the new Cash does look really good, huh?
It's a great pug map.
It's a great pug map. I will say. I like Cash. I hope it doesn't get added to the pool. But if it did, it's still better than Inferno.
Better than Inferno? I don't know about
the current version of Inferno. I would rather watch Cash than Inferno. I'd rather play Cash than Inferno.
For about a month. And
that's true.
Cash is like Dust 2, dude. Like,
I know.
Who played Cash when it was active was like Virtus Pro. Like, teams that are like puggy aim map teams.
Yeah. I don't know, man. I hope they don't add Cash. You know what I actually think would be nice is if they just added another new map. Another new map like Ancient, like Anubis. But I think Valve needs to stop making fucking maps. They need to just let the community do their thing. Look at Anubis. It's beautiful. They literally haven't had to make any changes at all.
Community map?
That's a community map. They bought it from the workshop.
All right.
Valve did not make Anubis.
Ancient?
Valve made made Ancient. They did make Ancient. However, let's think, yes, they did make that map too. But let's look at both of those maps, release versions and current versions. Night and day, different. People think Ancient didn't get that many changes, but it's been changed so much, it's actually insane. If you look at the first version of released Ancient to the current version, it's very different. Layout-wise, no, but the cover on sites, the way that like map control was taken, very different.
Yeah, well, the problem is nobody played it when it first released, so it's hard.
Because the spawns made Ancient unplayable. Like the CTs would get down to bottom B, like to the door before the Ts got there.
Yeah.
So that you just couldn't take map control. I remember watching the first game of Ancient on hltv, and the Ts literally just didn't move out of spawn and just waited for them to take the map control, and then they retook it.
They moved the spawns once or twice?
They moved them a few times. I think it's been like maybe 3 times they moved the spawns because
I thought they had the spawns pretty good, and then they changed them. Like
they changed them on CS2.
Yeah.
But on accident because then they changed them back.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know. Valve's not that great at making maps on the first try. I'm not gonna lie. Anubis has had 0 changes though. Would like to point that out. 0 changes to Anubis.
Really?
None. Not even one. I mean, there's been like small like pixel walks fixed, but like that's not the same thing. There's been no changes on Anubis.
Yeah, Anubis. I don't know.
None. I'm serious. Like actually none, which surprises me because you would think like surely nope. Not one.
You gotta stop with the T-sided map shit. T-sided maps just suck. They're just bad for the game.
I kind of agree with you.
They're too, especially in MR12, dude. They're way too fucking random now. Like T's start out like if they just win a few rounds in a row, there's just no getting back into the game. I feel like.
Yeah, I agree. It sucks. I don't really like T-sided maps. You know what though? I think T-sided maps can be good if they're done right.
What does done right look like?
Done right looks like it makes sense because the T's just are like taking map control a lot. And like instead of just like, okay, think of a T-sided map like old Cobblestone. Now, I never played, but I know because I saw some matches, but People just rush B a lot on old Cobble because it was just what you did, right? That's not a very fun T-sided map. That's like, that sucks. But if it's a T-sided map because you're taking map control and it like there's like more depth to it, it's fine, I feel like, because it goes both ways in that case. Like if you need to be good for the map to be T-sided, like Nuke. Think about Nuke. Like it's well, towards the end of CS:GO, Nuke was getting to be T-sided. Which is crazy to think about. These days not as much, but yeah. What are you looking for, man? All right. He I don't know. He lost something.
Dude, I got some shit in my foot, and I had my fucking tweezers right here to get it. Like, what the fuck, dude? I don't know what the fuck. I had them on my desk like fucking an hour ago, dude. Where the fuck did they go? This shit fucking hurts, dude. So you don't have a problem with the Nubis, just in that it's a fucking T-sided map. You don't feel like those are imbalanced?
Imbalanced doesn't necessarily mean bad as long as it's fine. Like, it's like not over the top. Old Nuke, the first version.
Yeah, you
of
start
CS:GO
out down
Nuke,
5-0 CT side Anubis. You feel like you have a chance at getting a decent half.
Yeah, because you only need to get like 3 or 4 rounds.
Yeah.
Like if I'm down 5-0, I'm just like, all right, it's okay, no worries. We'll just get our gun
so
round.
T-sided.
It's not that T-sided. It's only T-sided in pugs.
3 or 4 rounds is like an 11-4.
No.
3 rounds is like an 11-4.
I feel like if you had more rounds in CS:GO, it would have been more like 10-5. 11-4, 10-5, yeah, sure, but I don't think it's that bad.
11-4 T-side is pretty...
I mean, look, this isn't to say that Anubis is 100% perfect. I would say you can still move the spawns back on T-side and the map would be fine.
Yeah.
I've always suggested that that could be a potential change, to move the spawns back just a little bit, to give the CTs a little bit more room to breathe. But kind of just depends.
Valve just loves some fucking T-sided maps, man.
You know what maps? You know what maps should actually replace Inferno? Canals.
Fuck map is that, bro?
Don't know what Canals is?
No. Let me look it up. I've seen it before. Oh my god, this map was popular in like 2015.
The map came out in 2017.
It was popular in 2000. I have an April Fool's video on this map from like 2015.
Hear me out on why Canals could be good. Is because the problem with Canals historically was that the map was too big and the utility was too small. But now the utility is a lot bigger. If they did some slight tweaking to Canals, it actually could maybe be a good map.
They just got to bring Dust 2 back.
If Dust 2 comes back, I'm quitting.
Dust 2's coming back. And they got to bring Train back.
If Train comes back, I will be very unhappy, but it would be better than current Inferno.
Santorini was also a good map.
I never played it.
Mill was
Isn't that just Tuscan?
It's Tuscan, but the B side of the map is very different. Worse. The B side of the map on Mill is worse. They need to bring back Contra.
Those maps existed before Molly's existed too, right? So
yeah. Well, I mean, Tuscan came. They're remaking Tuscan already, buddy.
They're not remaking it again, are they?
I think so.
Again?
I think so. Didn't he say he was remaking it?
I don't know. Tuscan would be a good map in CS2.
What's wrong with Train? The problem with Train, we talked about it in the last episode. The same problem with Cobble. Well, Austin has differing opinions, but the objective problem with Train is that drop zone is fucking dog shit.
Pop Dog is a really bad spot of the map.
Yeah.
But I don't like the long lanes. I just don't like it. I thought it was really unfun to play.
Yeah. Austin, you know a movie you should watch is have you heard about Madame Web?
No, but I saw this shit on Twitter. I saw people were talking about it a lot. And
what do you mean people? Who's people?
Just random people. I don't know.
People were talking about it? What were they
people
saying?
were talking about it. They said it was terrible.
It was pretty good.
I don't like the way you said that. I'm not believing it.
It was possibly the worst movie ever made, but in a fun way, you know?
Right. How is it in a fun way?
Okay, so imagine like you're in like the year 2010 and like 1080p is like the highest resolution out there, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then someone shows you like a train crash, like graphic, like you don't want to watch this. But then they're like, but buddy, it's in 4K. You're going to be like, holy shit. Like maybe I should look. Like maybe this is worth
So you're saying it's terrible, but it's a good quality, so it intrigues you?
There's something that makes you want to watch as it goes terribly wrong.
Let me look this up. Madame
It's like
Web.
It's like the worst movie ever made, but then there's like some redeeming parts. Like the cinematography is pretty good. Set design's pretty good. The set design's pretty good. I feel like it actually does like look visually pretty good. But then it's like everything else is like the worst of all time. If you look at the positive reviews, by the way, they're all like, this is the worst movie ever, but I loved it. I really think people should watch it. I really think.
Maybe I will watch it.
It's worth watching. It's terrible, though, but it's worth watching.
Yeah, I don't know.
Every time the villain's on screen, he basically restates his origin story. Like, pretty much. It's like, in case you forgot, I have to kill you for these reasons. This is why you must die. It's like every fucking time he's on screen. And then, bro, in the opening scene, the second scene right after the worst fucking car chase of all time, the main character has a can of Mountain Dew and she can't open it for like 2 minutes. It's the most obvious product placement ever because she's trying to open it like upside down to keep it looking at the camera, and it's so saturated, just the can, that it's like glowing. And then they have a Pepsi can doing the same thing in the next. It's a fun movie. You should watch it. I kind of want to go see it again.
We should watch party it. Watch party on Twitch.
Go see it again. It was so fucking bad. Oh, but it was great, dude. I loved it. It's like, honestly, whew.
You want to know something actually really interesting? I actually had a discussion with Flom one time about this, and he was grilling my shit.
Oh, name dropping. Okay, yeah, go on.
Yes, and he said.
When I was talking about Biden, me and him were having a chat, and we were talking about the.
Well, no, I'm name dropping because I'm providing context. Okay.
Yeah.
When I was talking to Flom, me, Truck, and Flom were having a discussion.
And the guy that burst someone's eardrum, Truck.
Yeah, that guy.
Was anyone else there? Was Shroud there?
Yeah.
Were you talking to Donk? Was Donk in your?
Yep, Donk and Robs and Simple and Smooya. Okay, and we were all having a discussion, and we were talking about Flom was like, "Have you ever seen this movie?" Just like you just did. And you know what I told him? I said, I don't really watch movies. He's like, "Oh, well, have you seen this movie?" No. And then I had to explain to him that I don't watch movies. Like I might have watched.
Is that a hard thing to explain?
No, because he just couldn't wrap his head around it. He said, "You haven't seen this movie?" No, you haven't seen this movie. No. Then he started talking about like TV shows. I don't watch TV either. And so he was like baffled that I didn't watch anything. What's your favorite show? No, like what is it?
My favorite show?
Yeah.
Why are you asking?
I'm asking because I'm interested as a good friend.
The Bear.
Haven't seen it.
Yeah, but nobody's seen that show.
Yeah, okay, but seriously, he was coming up with some of the most common things ever, like things I've heard about but I've never seen.
Why don't you watch shows, bro?
I don't have time.
You have time.
I'm too busy dodging podcasts that I just can't really sit down and watch.
Not responding to my fucking DMs.
I know. I'm too busy, man. And what am I busy doing? Not watching shows. That's for sure. I don't know. It just never really has been appealing to me. I guess I grew up in a generation where YouTube was kind of established by the time I had my own.
You're the reason Madame Web is the way it is. You know that?
I don't know if that's true.
Because all they do is hit you with the most tired fucking cliches of all time that have been in 50 different fucking shit movies. But they're like,
but I probably haven't seen it.
The kids today don't watch movies, so they've never heard this before. This is.
It's true. I bet it was good. But anyway, seriously, I grew up in a time where YouTube was established, Twitch was coming up. There was a lot more exciting things to watch. So for me, watching TV got replaced pretty much as soon as I was 12 years old by YouTubers. I watched YouTubers, whether it was Minecraft YouTubers or just random Let's Players. It's just where my entertainment came from. And now I'm 22 years old and I still watch YouTubers. Like I sit down and I'm like, damn, I want to watch something. And I'm like, do I want to watch TV? Hell no. I'm going to load up and let's see the latest uploads from my favorite YouTubers. And I'll just watch YouTube for hours and hours.
I feel
Or
like
Twitch.
watching like good movies has like some definite merit because there's some stuff in these movies that is like,
Well, sure.
helps
right?
you understand, you know?
Yeah. And I'm not saying that movies aren't like, I mean, if done well, like there's like some good like historical movies that could like give you some, you know,
You should watch The
insight.
Bear, bro.
I'm not going to
Great
watch The
TV
Bear.
show. Why not, bro? It's so good. Dave is actually the most underrated show on TV right now. Dave is amazing.
We've talked about this many a times.
Dave is goated, bro. Goated. Oh my god. Goated.
I won't be watching it.
It's a fucking great show.
But anyway, I brought up that conversation I had with Flan because he also started ripping into me for being picky about food. Like they were talking about like their favorite food, and I was just, and me and Chuck were like talking about how no, never had that, or we don't like it. Like, is it more common to be picky in the modern era, or I don't know. I'm wondering because like people around my age are exceptionally picky. I know you saw that comment.
All I can think about right now is, why don't you continue? I don't want to say anything that offends anybody.
Right. I don't know. I feel like it's more common to be picky these days. A lot of kids are growing up eating the same thing every day, like pizza, burgers.
Yeah, because if you had my parents who were like old for my generation,
well, because you're
not
old.
eating the shit you were given was not acceptable, okay? You got the shit you got and you didn't complain, or you complained while eating your own tears into your fucking shit steamed broccoli, okay?
Yeah.
Like that's what you got. There wasn't any give me my nuggies. I don't like broccoli. Give me my I don't like your steamed broccoli. Take it back.
That's how I grew up though. I mean, I did like when I was younger and didn't know any better, I would complain about the food, and I was also given secondary choices.
Yeah,
like
there was no second choices when you're raised by adults.
Yeah, like we're going to a Chinese restaurant. What do you want? McDonald's. So they would go to a Chinese restaurant and then give me McDonald's. It was never like I don't know. I always had a choice. Like, and I always chose.
I'm gonna be
no, that's literally
what I'm thinking. No choice. I'm like, listen, you're gonna have your steak and your broccolis. That, like, by the way, the guy in chat that's like, I love broccoli. Broccoli's great. The way your parents make broccoli is not great, okay? That's where they throw it in a fucking boiling pot of water for 30 minutes and then pull it out while it's like limper than your dick, okay? And they're like, eat it. No salt, no pepper, nothing. Eat it.
Sounds like you got
it is kind of wild to go for Chinese and be like, nah, feeling like McDonald's today, thanks. That is
that's wild. But like I said, that's just how I grew up. So it's like I feel like a lot of that comes from, you know, my parents were good parents, but sometimes it was too good, you know. Like having choices like that was what led me to be like a bigger kid when I was younger, and then now it just kind of transferred. It kind of sucks, but at the same time, it's like I know that I was the one making those choices, so I can always choose to be better now.
This is like a philosophical debate. I think I don't want to get into this. I think obesity is like a highly heritable trait. It's like 60% heritable or something. It's like overweight parents make their kids overweight, and then those kids they basically
it's
rewires it basically rewires your fucking brain.
It's
like you're 90, fucked for the rest of your life.
It's like 95%.
Like actually, 95%, me myself included, we're both fucked, lifetime fucked, because your brain gets fucked. Like even if you like manage to lose the weight, you're like permanently fucking rewired, dude.
You're mentally fat.
You're fucked, dude. It's fucked.
Yeah, no,
it's so bad.
Real. It comes like it is actually real. It is actually real. I'm like, I don't blame my parents. I don't think it's like their fault consciously, you know, but it does have, you know, have a lot to do with the way I am to this day. So kind of sucks. I wish I could do it differently if I could go back. Wish I wouldn't have been such a picky little kid, but I didn't know any better. now I grow up, and if you ask me to go to a fancy restaurant, what am I gonna get? And I'm gonna get a hamburger, bro. I don't know what the fuck's on the menu.
Hey, there's nothing wrong with a good fucking hamburger, okay? They're not
I know.
even that bad for you.
I agree. I agree 100%. Yeah, everybody else is getting the fanciest shit, bro. But you know, me personally, I'm just getting a burger. This is how I
You're
live
like
my life.
opposite Mauisnake.
Well, how does Mauisnake do it? He likes to get the most like I've never had this before meal at the
Have
place.
you seen Mauisnake's Twitter?
I don't follow
He's
Mauisnake
like
on
fucking,
Twitter.
what's the most fucking extra high class, like fucking any book, movie, wine, restaurant? Like, I'm getting this guy to give me recommendations for food in my own city because he knows the shit better than I do, okay?
Really?
He just showed, there's this fucking sommelier, if you even know what that is, a wine connoisseur, okay? That is like does videos reviewing wine, and he was like, your favorite sommelier loves Counter-Strike, and I'm like, what the fuck, dude? I watch this guy's videos on wine. How is Mauisnake meeting this guy for fucking to talk about Counter-Strike? What the fuck is this, dude?
That's crazy.
Hey, fucking
Yeah.
He makes me feel. I feel like I'm, you know, above average, okay? And Mauisnake is like so far ahead, it's crazy.
Yeah, he's really just living life.
Yeah, this fucking guy.
So, when is it time, man? When is it time for me to come visit? What do you think?
Sorry.
When is it time for me to come visit your city, bro? Not come live with you or anything, but like come visit your city.
Anytime, buddy.
Anytime? Is it really like that?
The summers are not too hot. Spring rains
Okay.
a lot.
Okay.
Fall is not that cold. I'd say spring or fall is like optimal.
Spring or fall?
Yeah.
All right. Well, you know what, man? We'll see what we could do. I'm actually really down. I'm really down
Yeah.
to come visit. We can make some IRL CS content. You know how
Yeah.
cool that would be and not cringe?
What is IRL CS content, Austin?
I don't know. We could just be like playing CS together. We could do the funny like, oh, I'll control the keyboard, you control the mouse thing, you know? Like
How impossible that is, dude. I've tried this.
Yeah, I've tried it too, and it's fun though. We
Yeah.
could play an entire game like that. There's a lot of content to be made with two YouTubers who don't make that kind of content normally.
Yeah. Yeah, spring's probably the best bet.
Okay.
You can come in March.
In March, I'm gonna be at the major, buddy.
Wait, are you actually going to the major?
I'm actually going to the major in Copenhagen.
That's lit.
Yeah, are you gonna go?
VIP pass? No, I went to the one
No,
before.
I want to, but how do you a VIP pass? Like,
I just messaged the guy, and they gave me one.
really?
You're a big enough deal. You'll get one. Yeah, if you ask.
Yo,
press pass or
on
whatever.
the low. Yo, send me that on the
I mean,
low.
their email's like public. I can send you the email of the guy.
Yeah,
but it's
yeah,
like a
just-
public email. It's not like
yeah,
anything
send
hidden.
it. Yeah.
If they,
yeah,
I mean, I just got
I'm over
a
here
press
about to
pass.
pay-
It wasn't like, so there's like two. So at the PGL at the Stockholm, well, it's not like deep in COVID anymore, so I don't think it's going to be as big of a deal. But there was like the press, and then there was the players, and the players were like completely separate from the press, and the press was like more in with the fans. But you got like you got access to a bunch of other shit, and you got like whatever. But the players were off on their own.
So you think I could get a press pass and kind of go wherever?
I think they give press passes to basically anyone.
If I'm a YouTuber who's documenting
You could definitely
the
get a
major,
press pass. Yeah, you could for sure get a press pass. You might be able to
What-
get. I don't know if you need the other shit. I don't know, because it's not like there was a green room we were allowed in because they were so segmented. But maybe it's different now that it's less COVIDified. You know?
Yeah. You want to go to the major, man?
Nah.
Why not? You come hang out with me?
I still
that
got
the reason?
I still got content. I'm supposed. Listen, the problem is
It's
I'm
only a week,
I'm
man.
so far behind on my content that like I can't do anything. Like I try and take Sundays off, but then I'm like, no, I'm so far behind on the work I gotta do that I can't take Sundays off. And then it just like then I like have worked for like a week straight, but like I'm still so far behind that I'm like, oh, it's bad. It's bad. It's, you know, I gotta figure this. I gotta get this shit together before I do.
Well, you
anything.
got time by the time, like, what? This isn't a month still before, I mean, like
month,
5 or 6.
Bro,
It's like
a
5 or
month
6
passes
weeks.
in like 2 hours.
Yeah, maybe for you. I'm still young. I don't know, man.
Bro, a month ain't shit, man. Oh fuck!
Hey.
And then a month from now, I'm supposed to start paying my taxes again. Oh my god.
I know, bro. It's terrible. This will be
Oh.
my first year, man.
Yeah, you
What
have
a
money
shame.
saved for taxes, Austin.
Yeah, I do, bro. It'll be my first year that I made enough. That's
Proud of
sad.
you got money saved. Good job. You don't have to
Yeah.
sell your skins to pay your taxes. Like
Fuck, I
did.
might. I don't know. I don't know how this shit works.
Yeah, you gotta write off. You gotta figure out all the shit you can write off. You gotta.
I could probably write off my skins, yeah? I could write off my skins, my computer. I could write off all of the stuff that I've spent on streaming.
I'm sure you probably.
All of the cases I opened, all of
People
my
probably do
gambling
write off their
problems
skins.
because it was all for content.
Cases, yeah. Skins. I'm sure people do write it off. I don't think I wrote mine off, but you probably could. Yeah.
Well, I got like 10 grand in skins. I'm not even gonna lie. So that would be nice.
Yeah, I had my nice ass fucking prints and my gloves that were like 10K, and I had them for like 3 months, and then I was like, oh, look at that, I have to pay 15K in taxes. Like, I guess I'm selling these. Like,
Yeah.
fuck's sake, dude.
Yeah.
Ay.
No, but seriously, man, you should come to the major. It'll be a great time. Love to see you there.
Nah.
You know, we haven't
not
met yet,
happening this
and
year.
I've known you for 3 years. Just saying,
Yeah, and you still don't respond to my messages. So maybe if we pass that,
buddy.
if we get over that
on.
hurdle, maybe.
I know
maybe
you
we
want to go
can
to the
meet.
major. Come on, it's the first CS2 major. You want to be there. It's a legendary moment.
I'll probably.
What if
be,
there's
I'll probably
what if
be at
there's
the next major.
the next major?
Yeah.
What about IEM Dallas?
Those are pointless, dude. What I want to meet a bunch of fucking losers that can't make it out of North America. No, thank you. If you can't be at the major, I don't want to talk to you.
That's kind of, you know what? That's based. That's based. That's based. I won't even lie. That is nice. I like that.
All right.
You got the ego coming through.
If you're not good enough to make the major, bro.
Yeah.
Oy.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, what else? You got any special streams planned soon? You ever gonna stream again, buddy?
I've been actually planning on streaming. I just, you know what happened? So I realized that like I have to get my skill level back up a little bit, so I'm not like embarrassing when I play. And then I realized that when I like CS2, I lost like it really closed the gap in terms of like all the little advantages I had that weren't like one-way smoke gimmicks types things, but like little advantages. There's shit I know that other people don't know. I lost a lot of that in CS2.
Yep.
I lost
So
a fucking lot of that.
You're just an above average noob now?
So yeah, now I'm like fucking trying to spend time to like especially because I said fuck it and I just decided I'm gonna like play Ancient and Anubis and Vertigo. Because eventually you gotta just play them. So I'm like also like I know Ancient decently well, but like I haven't played it, you know, which means you don't know it at all. If anyone isn't aware of this, like you can know a map but not know a map, you know? You gotta have the vibe for a map. Nobody in fucking when you're playing a game, nobody is like, yeah, well, it takes 13 seconds to rotate from here to here, and 30% of the time you should be throwing this nade, and 60% of the time you should be throwing that smoke.
Coach Voo is not player Voo.
Yeah, those are like the 60%. You have to formulate the 60% that you should be doing something based on something. So you actually have to know the vibe, and then you have to know the angles that you're comfortable holding. When you like, you might know a rotate should happen, but when the round is active, you still have to like find when that rotate is comfortable. So I know the maps. I don't know Anubis like at all, but I know Ancient pretty well. I know Vertigo a bit, but I gotta grind out like fucking 50 games on each of them, plus get my aim back because my aim is horrific. Okay, it is so fucking bad. And I've been playing some aim labs, and it's actually been fucking super useful. That's
nice. I never actually enjoyed external aim trainers.
Well, that's because your aim is already good. So it's like,
you know
have
what?
you ever
Actually,
heard of
I'll take
survivorship
that.
bias?
Yeah, I have.
Yeah, that's kind of what it is. Although I would say for 90% of people, you should not be fucking aim training. Okay,
right. I think aim just kind of comes, you know.
Yeah, for me it does.
I Yeah.
Yeah. I never understood training aim on something that isn't what you're playing. Well, point click aim is basically the same. I mean, if you're pointing at something, like it's just you're basically training your hand-eye coordination. You can do it more effectively in aim trainers because you can train specific scenarios like long-range targets, targets that are moving. You can train tracking. You can train target switching. You train very specific things. But I really think for 95% of players, if not more, just play the fucking game and your aim will get better, because the problem is probably not your point click aim that's the issue. The problem is most likely that you're just bad is probably the problem.
Yeah.
But if you get to a certain level, I think, you can consider
Yeah, most people's aim isn't as bad as I think it is. It's really just the spots they're in. They're required to hit the biggest and hardest flicks of all time, and they're like not hitting them, and they're like, "Oh, I suck." It's like, actually, no, you just shouldn't be there.
Yeah, there's a million other things that you have to optimize before the problem is your aim. However, I am confident that the problem is definitely my aim, because until I started playing aim trainers, I think I went like 30 pistol rounds in a row without getting a single kill. Because if I can't pre-aim someone and spray to hit them after I miss the first shot, I am just never killing a single human being. There's just a 0% chance. There's no chance. Even if like they'll miss a whole clip and I'll just be missing my whole clip at them. I'm like fucking Hooksy out here, okay? Like we're both missing each other horrifically. But if I could get a kill with the rifle because I just pre-aim decently, or like I make like whatever fucking play and then I can shoot him in the body, like I'm okay at that part. Like they're once they're
Sounds
stopped.
Like you need to just start buying the Zeus.
No, actually no, because I'm horribly bad with shotguns and the
Zeus. Think about it. You drop 2 dualies to teammates who are way better and more capable, and you get a 1 chance kill. It's 50-50. That's better than what you got right now.
No, it's not, because I flick off of people. If someone swings on me and I'm holding the angle with the Zeus, the odds that I miss are like more than 50-50. Even if they're close. There's something wrong with my brain, dude. Even when I was playing all the time, my aim was oh my god. The aim trainer actually did help quite a bit, but I just don't find.
Well, that's good to hear. That's good to hear.
It's
I was hoping that you'd start to get it back, because every time I'd play with you, it was getting progressively more sad, and I was like, man, I don't know how to tell him.
Well, don't worry, I know. But CS2 is even worse, because
yes, CS2 is a little kid's game.
The problem with CS2 is just that I didn't even realize that like my aim was like face it 4 level. But like I just knew the angles well enough and I knew the plays well enough. Now, without the advantages that I used to have of like just having a really good read on how people were going to play, like just kind of being able to anticipate their play because I've seen these plays so many times. Without that, the fact that my aim is dog shit is much more apparent.
It happens, man. How's opping been? You been opping recently, or are you still
I've been
trying to
intentionally not opping because I know my opping is gone nowhere. So it's like I want to be.
Oh, you're certain that you're still good at opping?
No, I mean when I pull out the op, I kill a lot more people.
Yeah.
But I've never been a rifler, and rifling is like a different playstyle almost, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I decided to challenge myself. I want to like actually get good at like playing the rifle playstyle, because I know I can just go back to opping at any point. Although that is dumb, because I'm wasting a lot of time when I could just be like
opping.
I could be opping, and opping is definitely more tactical than rifling.
I feel like you should just stick to opping.
I feel like opping is more tactical, and it's actually a better way. I'm not saying anybody should op. Don't op. It's a crutch, but. I feel like in terms of learning the game tactically, opping is a lot better, because opping is more of like a guarantee, or it should be, even though for me it's not, but it's like, is this a good angle? Yes or no. Like with an op, it's kind of like binary. It's like you're expected you're going to hit the shot. With a rifle, it's like, depends. You have to make these plays that are like, sometimes you're just taking a big risk and it's like, am I gonna kill the guy or not? Like there's a lot of shit that's like you have to vary it up, I feel like, way more heavily based on how good your aim is with a rifle compared to opping, although you can play like a fucking lunatic if you hit all your shots. Opping, I feel like, is more of like a strategic thing. Like, if you're IGL, you can kind of tell your opper where to go and what to do, somewhat.
Mm-hmm.
But you can't really do that with your riflers. You just tell them an idea and then...
Yes, they have to do it on their own terms, basically. Yeah.
So,
yeah.
yeah.
I feel like you should just op. I feel like you're making things harder on yourself for no reason.
Oh, 100%. But, you know...
If you ever play a game with me and you're not opping, you will not be playing the next game with me. That's all I have to say.
Yeah, my rifle, I'm getting better, bro. My aim is actually, here's the thing, like, my aim is kind of on point in a lot of these games, but then I'll play with people and it's like, it'll be on Anubis and I'll just get fucking dumpstered over and over and over, and I'll be like, I didn't even know that angle existed. And it's like, I played this map like 50 times, but like the skill gap between like fucking level 8s and like 3K ELO players is so massive. The level 8s might as well be fucking bot Bob, okay? They're so fucking clueless that like literally if my aim is on point, I just peek out and fucking shoot them. There's no like, I don't need to have an advantage. But fuck.
But the second you play somebody that knows the map, you're done for.
Yeah, even if like I've played a couple games, I literally played a game where I went like 4-16, but on Leadify my aim rating was 90 because like every time I saw someone I would dink them if they were near where my crosshair was. But the problem is I was getting flash fucked, I was getting fucking double naded, I was getting mollied out, I was getting fucking shit on. And it's like I kind of feel like I know Anubis okay, but I know it from like demos and shit, which means I don't have any vibe for the map, which is all that fucking matters.
Yeah. Well, it sounds like you need to get in the server, man. Like get in there, start playing some games. You need to do those long days of CS again so you can get a feeling.
Yeah, I've been doing
I will say though, actually, it'll help out your content as well, because I think one thing that's going to be underestimated in CS2 is it's going to be a lot harder to make content because you won't have as much like playtime in it. Like with CSGO, you have thousands of hours in CSGO.
Yeah. In
this game, you don't. You have like hundreds of hours, maybe less than that,
just,
to
like,
be honest.
People in general that are playing.
Of playtime. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like it's harder to say it, like to teach people how to play a game when it's like you're not as certain of it yourself. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I noticed that when CS2 first came out, I tried to like do the tutorial stuff that I always did. I was like, I actually don't know if this works because I haven't used it, but in theory it should work. But then it's like, and then I try it in my own game. I was like, oh, it doesn't work, and then I can't make a video on that. So it's harder. It's harder to teach people. So I feel like you gotta get back in there and get those hours.
I've been playing a lot. Yeah.
I'm gonna check something really quick. Hold on. Let me see.
My hours aren't public.
All right. Yeah, that's what I was gonna go look at. But you know what? It's probably
I've got like 100 hours in the last 2 weeks or something.
AFK hours?
Yeah, but it doesn't make a difference because when I'm recording, I also have the game open.
Right.
But yeah, I've been trying to play quite a bit. I've played like my first Face It games since like a year ago. And I can already feel like I'm way fucking behind. Like behind the level that people are at just from having played for the first 3 months or whatever. It's very obvious, but we'll get there. How many games have I played? Like 30 games, 40 games maybe?
Yeah.
Not the greatest fucking stats, but you know, it is what it is.
Yeah, you just got to get more in. Hey man, maybe it's
well, the problem is I'm forcing it on the map. I'm forcing it onto Anubis. Anubis is the map I want to be good at. I want to get good at Anubis because it's like a popular map. It's a good map. But
then you know what you should do?
Holy fuck, am I bad at Anubis, man?
You know what you should do? I just had a really good idea. You could make a series on learning Anubis. Well, here's what you do. You get some people, some loyal people from the Discord, and you make a little scrim team, and you sit in there and you learn the map as a team. You don't actually make a team, but learn as a team, and you scrim the map versus actual teams and try to get some experience on only Anubis, but you're
then
actually
I have
learning.
to learn all the utility and shit. Fuck that. I don't.
But you were gonna have to learn that. See, that's the problem. Utility has never been more important than it is right now.
It's no. If I can't wing it, I'm not learning it. I know how to smoke window though. I can smoke window on Mirage.
That's great. That's great.
I can smoke E-Box from Spawn.
That's great.
We'll get there. Don't worry, we'll get there.
But that would be a good content, like learning Anubis, learning Ancient, learning Vertigo, because you don't know them, because you've basically been out of competing since
like 2019.
Well, basically, yeah, since Vertigo came out. So you're
Bro,
3
I haven't
maps.
even scrimmed on new Nuke. I've never played a scrim on
And new nuke, yeah.
Oh, new
Nuke. Wait, now Inferno's changed. Oh my God, Voo, you only have 2 maps now that you can talk about comfortably.
Yeah,
Overpass and Mirage. Oh no, man. And Overpass got overhauled too.
When did updated Nuke release? Hold on. Where?
2018.
Yeah, to be fair, I played on a team after that. It was just our permaban or like.
Yeah, but that does count.
Oh no, it wasn't even a permanent ban. There was no permabans back then. It was just I didn't play. I joined after the Nuke week or whatever, you know.
You have 5 maps in the pool that you don't know that well.
That is actually exactly what happened. You know what happened actually? Someone asked for a demo review and I was like, it used to be like if someone asked for a demo review and it was on Vertigo, I'm like, listen, I kind of know Vertigo. Like I've done some demo reviews on it. I've watched a lot of pro games on it. But like if we're asking for a map for me to be comfortable giving a good, like real explanation for everything, not Vertigo. And then it was like not Vertigo and not Ancient. And now it's like, what maps can I do a review on where I feel like I'm giving you really good value? Other than like macro, like, because I can always break down like, oh, here's why your aim sucks. You're not clearing angles well. You're doing like, but like if I really want to give like a demo review that's like a 20-round demo that I can break down for an hour and a half, which is like what I'll fucking do, I have to know the map, like inside and out. Like here's 5 options you could be making instead of this play. Yeah, that's tough to have that.
Yeah. And soon, like, if Mirage gets removed, it's over, buddy.
I've been playing, man. I've been playing. But the problem is, here's the thing. What I need right now is I need to find a series that I can make, that I can release on in a short period of time. I need to have a series that is less intensive that I make. Because, like, all my videos, I made a couple videos that were, like, on shorter notice. They're just worse videos. They're just worse. They're just bad videos compared to what I.
There's a problem, right? You've kind of, it's like a blessing and a curse with how good your videos are and how much you know about YouTube. Is that now you have like a bar that you have set so high that if a video isn't at that bar, you're not happy with it.
Yes.
But realistically, that bar is only for you, not for the viewers. Like, if you compare the videos I make to the videos you make, sure, yes, you do way, way, way better than mine. But like my bar is not as high as your bar. Like I'm happy with a video that has no edits and I'm just in there talking.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be that high. That's the thing, because you're probably getting as many views as I'm getting, just because you put out way more.
Yeah, I mean, yes, you know what? You're right. The stats are probably similar per month. But not per video.
Yeah. It's hard to go backwards, dude. Like once you've like made the step, it's hard to like it's hard to be okay putting out a shit video, essentially. Like a video that is like not. And the problem is like, I think I'm going to make a membership of my channel and put out like all the stuff I don't put in videos. Because like I have these notepads, dude, that have like 15 different interesting things and interesting ways to approach a topic. But like 1 or 2 of them making the video because I'm just like, I'm so focused on following the narrative. Like, I think it would be funny in this Kenny S video. The Negev run speed is 150 units a second, which is the same as the unnerfed op scoping run speed. Which is a funny bit. It's like, how good was the op before? Well, how comfortable would you be swinging on someone with a Negev if they had 1 health? You would still not be comfortable swinging on someone with a Negev if they had 1 health. True. Even if they were right around the corner, if you're like kissing them around the corner, you still would not be comfortable with that.
People would do it with an op.
Yeah, but you would do it not, but it'd be like, oh my god, this is so overpowered. Like, okay, it's like, of course it's more complicated than that, like admittedly. But that's like a funny fucking like bit for the video. But it's not gonna make the cut because I think I can't find a place to put it. Like, Mauisnake is basically Kenny S. Like, Kenny S and Mauisnake are like the same player. So if Kenny S can do well after the op nerf, so could, or sorry, if Modesty can do well after Yopner, so could Kenny S. But is that going to make it in the video? I don't know if that's going to make it in the video because I don't know if it's like if I find the room in the video to make that.
Have you ever thought about maybe making like mini like recordings of just that section and releasing them as shorts?
That's a really good idea, yeah.
And then having those shorts be like, if you're interested in more on the topic, check out a video I did covering Kenny S.
Yeah, so I actually think this is like talking to the viewers for a second. If you want to do good on YouTube, do your fucking research and put in the effort to know what you're doing. And so my plan is that we're going to do this podcast and I'm going to spend a day or two a week on this podcast and on the shorts or whatever. But if we don't do this podcast, then I'm going to go back into doing a lot of short form content and use that day or two for short form content instead. So yeah, whether or not this podcast works is whether or not I do that.
It works. It will continue. I finally have my schedule clear. I will literally tell you right now, my schedule is clear. If I don't show up on Sundays, it's my fault. If the podcast doesn't happen, to all the viewers, flame the shit out of me. It's on me. Everything that happens,
I didn't want to annoy you because I wanted to do the podcast, but at the same time,
well, I mean, yes, you weren't annoying me, but I didn't
want to have to hunt you down. Well, that's the other problem. I had a podcast with a guy called George Geddes, and we would set up a time, and then he would just not show up and not say anything. And I'm like, dude, it's okay if the time doesn't work, but like,
don't agree to something.
My time at least, right? Like, tell me beforehand.
That's why I was like telling you, like, I don't know. I didn't want you to have to hunt me down because I didn't even know when I would be available, which is what made it really hard. But every Sunday, at least until like next month at this time, I'm 100%. So we got 4 guaranteed podcasts, including this one.
Yeah. So I might make. I'm going
to LAN, and then I'm going to the major.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Back
so
to
we're gonna
back
have
weeks.
2 weeks off again.
No, because we could just pick a different day, but we can worry about that when it's time.
All right.
Well, the podcast releases on YouTube. You know what? I thought about this. We stream the podcast or record the podcast, whether we do it on stream or not, on Sunday, and then re-release it on Tuesday because that way is what we were doing always was Tuesday, and that way it gives us a buffer period to where we could have the release on Tuesday. Maybe we just secretly record an episode tomorrow and release it next week.
Yeah. No, that's a good idea. Yeah. There's a lot of stuff to do. Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's good.
Yeah.
I think it's good.
When it comes to my content, I don't know, dude. I looked at the videos. There's 2 videos I remember I gave you a hook for, and I was like, damn, son. Those are like 2 of your most popular videos. And I'm like,
yeah, you're like, why is he not keeping it up?
No, nothing about you. I was like, maybe I should just like put in a little bit less effort. Like maybe maybe like I'm questioning myself too much because the amount of like effort I put into writing something and then testing it and then like, it's not quite right. And then like redoing it and shit. And then it was like, I gave you 2 hooks that were like pretty good in like 5 minutes.
Yeah.
And it was like, so maybe I shouldn't be spending a month on an 8-minute video.
I mean, like, so for reference, you gave me the hook for the pug that I played with against Shroud when I had Stewie on my team.
Those were also just good. That was also just a good video. Yeah.
Yeah. That one you basically did the intro to, and it did really good. And then also you did the one for the JL demo review, which also did really good for my channel. But even with that being said, like the intros that I'm doing are way less effort, and I'm still able to like do that.
Yeah, I know. That's the thing.
Like I had this one, my 5 Must Know Smokes video that hit like 400,000 views.
Yeah.
That one's really good, but the intro literally is just me talking with smokes being thrown in the background. Like, you know how long it took me to make that intro? It probably took me 5 minutes to record and to talk about it and to come up with the idea.
That's like a smart way to do it. Like, to be honest, like I was talking to someone about this, like,
it would be better to release more content even if the hook isn't as strong because you're releasing more anyway, so it makes up for that.
Yeah, it's better to put out a more sustainable amount of content that you can do regularly. It's just hard to take a step back, man. It's hard to be like, it's hard to want to go backwards in quality. It's hard to want to do that. It is.
I understand. I know because I remember when you were learning all of the stuff that you were learning for your videos, I was kind of with you during that in the prime of us yapping in Discord late at night. We were discussing a bunch of things that I still use to my channel. I think those were really valuable discussions for both of us. But
It's
I
a lot
know
of
that
effort.
you were like that. I think of the Office video. That's the one
Yeah.
I think about the
Oh
most.
my
Is like
god, that video.
that video was like a month of us like talking about. I want to do it this way. I want to do it
Yeah.
this way. I want to do it this way. But how long did it take us? We got the footage in 3 hours. Realistically, you could have one tapped the video in one day.
Yeah, it wouldn't have been as good, but yeah.
It wouldn't have been as good for you, but the viewer doesn't know the difference because you're thinking of what could have been versus what is. Like they see what is, you think what could have been. They don't. Nobody watches the video and goes, "This video would have been better if he would have put this joke in with the green screen not being on."
Yeah, but though I think people, it does affect the video. It gets more views if you make it better. But I don't think that needs to be every video. That's why I'm like looking for. I'm gonna make this video on Donk, and maybe I'll go back to like breaking down pro stuff because I can turn that over in
That's
a
it's
day
pretty
is too
simple.
short. I can do it in like 3-4
content.
days though. Yeah.
Like yeah, compared to what you were doing, like it's still way easier than coming up with finding the best settings. Like this video, like a settings video that you made probably was
long to make, dude.
probably shouldn't take that long. If I wanted to make my own settings video, the first thing I would do is go to Reddit. Okay, what pros are you using? All right. And then I would test it, and like maybe in less than an hour, I'd already be like, "Yep, these are probably the best settings." I'd record it, and then that'd be a pretty quick turnover.
I'm too focused on like having, like even things that I think I know. I went back because I was like, Donk plays back on a site at like dice and map a lot with a rifle on overpass, and it's like that's like oppers do that. Like usually you'll have the opper back on site and the rifler in bathrooms. Like if you're gonna do that, and I'm like, hold up, let me go download 20 overpass demos and just make 100% sure I know this for sure. And it's like,
but
okay,
you do. Yeah.
Yeah, I that's just I don't know. I'm just fucking.
I would tell you the
know,
reason
CG,
he's
dude.
doing that is probably because he's him. Like
Yeah, no, it is 100%. Yeah.
yeah,
It
like
is because
he's
him,
just
yes.
yeah, he's just gonna peek out and kill him.
No, the amount of shit that it lets him do because he's so. Donk is the epitome of like. You can only do this because your aim is really good, but there's going to be so many people that attribute Donk's playstyle to him, and I've watched some videos, and that I feel like that is some of the videos are really attributing that a little more. Some of them, to be honest, are just like, look at his aim, he's so good. But like, I feel like a lot of them are attributing like, oh, look at this angle he's found, and it's like, no, he can play here because he's Donk, and that means, and what that means is like.
His
Because
team
he's
can
on
play around that.
Because he's on site, he can rotate heaven with a rifle when that would usually be an opper, and the rifle can like push out through the smoke and like support like aggressively, and he can like win his team rounds. And it's like, he didn't think of this like uniquely. He didn't come up with this shit on his own. It's like he can do this, so he does it, and then it works. Like
yeah. Did you watch my demo review of Donk that I uploaded the other day?
Yeah, you watched his Inferno game, or no, his nuke game.
His nuke game, yeah.
Which is the epitome of aim. No, not aim.
Of team play.
He's fucking cheating, dude. What are these smoke spams, dude? Like
I don't know. But the way I did the demo review was like I was very much straying away from just saying it's because he's like really good mechanically. Yeah. I was trying to like explain all of the things he's doing is enabled by his team. Yeah. It's not because he's not doing it because he's him. He's doing it because his team is letting him be him, you know?
Yeah.
It's really good team play because Donk can run around and do that on any team, but if they don't support him, he's going to look like your average rifler, I feel like.
Yeah, I think a lot of that's true. I think some of it is just that like he can play slightly different because his aim is so fucking sick that he would just adapt that to a different team. Like if the team's not letting him do this, like X, he'll do Y.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure he would find a way. He is really good. But a lot of the stuff he's doing is replicable though. Like it's stuff that you can do. It's just you need it to be like better team play.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. I think Nuke here's the thing.
I was going to review another map as well.
I don't think Nuke was the map to review. I think it's actually a really good map to review for what you were doing, for like your take on it. But here's what happened. The first map I looked at, I was like, I'm going to look at his best map of the tournament, Overpass. Yeah. That was not his best map of the tournament. That was his best statistical map of the tournament. But if you watch that map, you probably watched that map, right? Have you?
Yeah. Yeah.
He was not hitting some sick shots, like other than the spray down.
Nah, he's just in good spots.
He was in
And
good spots.
he's always getting
Everyone
the kill
was
he needs to
whiffing
get.
on him. Every fucking time, everyone he shoots whiffs on him.
Because he's playing with confidence. Like
Yeah.
the divider 4K spray down is the epitome of, well, yes, they whiffed on him, but also who the fuck is peeking that? Like, like
Yeah.
if like he's killing people because they're genuinely not expecting him.
Yeah. Yeah, and he's like, because he's got the aim to play back on site, he has like these heaven rotates that are way fast.
Way stronger than the op as well.
He's because he can blow out a nade and get a 2K spray down, or blow out a smoke and get a 2K spray down instead of an opper like maybe blowing it out and getting one, and then he's in a 2v2, maybe you lose that round. Then he's like, his team is boosting him up on spots. He is like constantly, the opper's like Shiro's running out with his pistol and Donk's going behind to get the trade. Like that happens all the fucking time. But like, I feel like I want to say Donk Shroud is budget Donk, because when I watch Donk, I feel like he's found something out about movement that people aren't realizing.
Yes, I know what you mean.
People are missing on him constantly. Yeah,
Donk does something I noticed in the game that I didn't bring up. I don't think I talked about in the review.
He moves before he starts shooting, right?
When he peeks angles, he crouches and then uncrouches right away.
It's pistol round movement, yeah.
Yes, it's pistol round movement on a gun round, but the reason it works is because he's able to be immediately accurate the second that he sees somebody, and also his hitbox is pistol move, pistol hitbox.
And some of it is that like there's this clip of Rops fighting Donk. Rops on Mirage. Rops is on the flower pot, and Donk peeks out. And it's like
yes, it's the Mirage ramp one. Yes, but he still killed him.
Like he peeks out and then peeks back. He like moves out and then moves back, and Rops flicks off of him because his movement is so impossible to read. And then Donk doesn't even hit a nice shot, but it's like, what the fuck? Like, and he does this all the fucking time. In fact, in the pistol spray down, if you watch this one back, if anyone goes and watches this one's back, he gets peeked out by a pistol swing on him. He starts moving before he starts shooting. He starts moving and crouching, and then as he starts shooting, basically like, you know how like on the box Dust 2 holding B, right? Late round people would be jiggling on that box on like the site. You know, they'd be like in Dust 2, right? There's the default boxes, then there's the double box, and then there's that weird single box. Kind of like in the middle of the site for no reason. You know what I'm talking about? People would stand on that and they'd be AD jiggling. But like you can shoot instantly because you're doing it so fast, right?
Yeah.
It's almost like that where someone peeks him and he hits D and crouch at the same exact time, so that when they peek out, they adjust to his head and his head is now in a different spot. He does that a lot. Fuck, nobody hits him in the head, dude. I want to actually look this up. What % of times does Donk die to a headshot compared to other people? It's
really? Is there a stat that you know of?
I haven't looked it up, but I just thinking of it now. It's like, I feel like it would be, I don't know. Maybe it would be higher because he doesn't die.
Yeah, it is an interesting thing. I mean, you're right though. Like I said, when I was watching the review, I was like, he moves kind of weird, you know, like differently. And I started doing the same thing that he's doing, where he like peeks around corners while crouching, and I started farming in my pugs recently.
So what you do is like you strafe out and then start strafing back and crouch, or you mean I noticed he does that a lot.
Yes, but not like that. I don't do that. I just like when you peek an angle, you crouch, but you don't like actually go all the way down.
Yeah.
You just like tap it as you peek, and it slows you down to enough to where you're immediately accurate, but your head like. Yeah, and it's like it throws people off. Somebody peeked me like that the other day. I think it was last night, if I could find the clip eventually. But somebody peeked me like that, and I was like, "Oh my god, that's unstoppable! Like that's unstoppable."
Yeah,
it looks very silly, and like their momentum is like it goes from fast to slow so quick, and you're just like, "Oh my god!" Like you're flicking off of people all the time.
Yeah. Have you Okay, so there's this thing Donk does. I think it's fairly unique. But I don't know if it's that unique. Okay. How unique is this? I'm trying to think of it. So, I'm calling it playing for the second contact. So, there's this clip, overpass phase. It's Rain and Kerrigan, and it's like 2v4, I think, 2v3 maybe. Kerrigan is jump up, Rain is bank, and they know where both players are. Spirit does. Donk is dice. They've got a guy, I believe it's front bathrooms, but it might be truck. Kerrigan swings out jump up, starts shooting at someone. I think it's front bathrooms. And then Rain starts moving out of bank looking for the player swinging on Kerrigan. As in, like, Kerrigan makes contact, Spirit makes contact, and then the second Spirit player is going to peek out to kill Kerrigan to help his teammate, right?
Mm-hmm.
And instead of Donk peeking out from dice to shoot at Kerrigan, he actually peeks out from dice to shoot at Rain, who he already knew was in bank, who he's expecting to be looking for the player that's supporting to kill Kerrigan.
Right. So
You know what I mean?
saying he's not fighting the guy, he's fighting the guy that's helping the guy.
Yes, and he does that. I've seen him do that like 3 or 4 different times in this one game.
There was the pistol round on Nuke, CT side. Rops is sitting in door waiting to like come out when everybody else is coming out hut. And Donk, instead of fighting the hut guys, literally runs indoor and just kills Rops and then goes and fights the other guys.
Yeah, that's exactly
I know
what you're talking about.
Yeah, he kills the supporting players before the actual players. Yeah.
That's like
or
pretty unique,
like
right?
the trade fraggers first.
Yeah, he does it on pistol round too, where Shiro's leading out, T-side pistol overpass. Shiro's leading out, spots someone connector. Donk is still around the corner. They're like 4-man walking up fountain. Donk's still around they peek like close to the corner, like the wall closest to connector, not like away from the wall. Shiro spots the guy, connector stairs, and then Donk waits a second, and then he peeks out and kills the guy divider. He's second guy, but he doesn't peek out the guy connector. He knows that there's a guy divider on this setup that's gonna peek out, and he peeks out and kills that guy instead. Feels like it could really, really backfire, like really badly.
It definitely could, right? Because if your team's not on the same page, then you're just gonna miss.
But it is like when it's working, dude. That's got to be why Donk is so like a major part of why Donk is so hard to deal with, because I feel like he's already planning for the multi-kill. This is something nobody's gonna get this reference. Wayne Gretzky talked about this. Best hockey player ever by like a huge margin. When he was really at his peak, he was no longer looking at the player. It was like, I'm gonna have to beat this player, right? You're no longer thinking about beating player number 1. You're thinking about beating player number 2 as the really good player. It's like, I know I'm gonna beat this guy. I gotta beat player number 2. And Wayne Gretzky was like, when I got to really good, I was thinking about the third player. I'm gonna beat this guy, and I already know I'm gonna beat the second guy, so I gotta beat the third guy. That's kind of what I feel like Donk is at. It's like, I already know I'm going to kill this first guy. What about the second guy? You know, like that's who we got to fucking worry about. We got to worry about the guy after, you know? Gretzky's about to be passed. Doesn't that seem unlikely? Because didn't Ovechkin stop fucking scoring this season? Like 10 games in a row or something?
I don't know anything about that. But you're right. I like that. I like that though.
That's one of the things I'm talking about in the video.
He thinks
I'm calling it playing for the
second.
second contact, but I don't know what name you would call it, you know. It's hard.
Like you're just aware, you know what the team is doing, so you stop the gimmick before it happens.
His timing is so crazy too, dude. Like the spams on Nuke, dude.
Spam.
I'm like, Vax Sucks is having a field day with that guy.
That,
if I saw that in
that.
fucking Overwatch, dude, I'm going, yes, he's cheating 100% of the time, dude.
I said that in my demo review as well. I was like, I'm not gonna lie. I was like, I would definitely say he was cheating, but I was like, if I was looking at this objectively in a random game, I would be like, this guy's cheating. But at the same time, it's like, I understand what he's doing. Like, okay, think about, did you see the overpass spam on Frozen?
I definitely saw it, but I can't think of it.
It's the one where he's a T, Donk is a T, and Frozen pushes up behind the new smoke.
Yeah, that was so bullshit too. What the fuck was that?
I think he just genuinely knows the timing. Like, the best spawn will be here. The next spawn will be here. Like, he can see it in his head. Yeah. Either that or he's got something going on. I don't know.
I wouldn't be surprised if he had some way of, like, getting info through smokes or something. There's a lot of glitches. Like, the high brightness thing. You can see it in low brightness, but it's a lot more visible in high brightness. But the problem is, pro tip for the audience, if you have trouble seeing through Molotovs, because I noticed someone's stream where they could see through Molotovs really well, Austin's probably one of the streams I saw, you want to up your model texture detail and lower your brightness, and you'll see through Molotovs a lot better. So if you jack your fucking brightness settings to see this like little glitch in smokes, you're not seeing shit.
I can see through mollies. I see a lot of people that have been saying that I can't, like, they're like, I don't know why,
It's
but you
model
can
texture
see
detail.
more
It's
on
model
your
texture
through your
detail.
mollies. And yeah. And I was like, I don't know either, but I will tell you one thing, for someone who can supposedly see more through mollies, I can't
It's still fucking
see
impossible to see
behind mollies. Yeah. Like, everybody's like, oh, you can see way more than me. I'm like, that's great because I'm still getting shit on. Like, I don't understand.
Yeah. Oh, it's fucked. It's so bad. Like, but if your model texture detail is low, it's like one big fucking ball of fire. But if it's on high, then
Oh, it like fluctuates around.
You can kind of see that it has a shape, you know? It's not like one big fucking sun glow of sun. If you want to see what people are talking about, turn your brightness up to like 110% and then turn your model texture detail to low and look at a molly and you're like, dude, I'm like staring into the fucking sun right now, dude. It's so fucking bad.
I was wondering, do you think they're going to fix mollies? Because right now they do give one ways in certain areas.
Probably not. Valve doesn't fix stuff.
They do though. Do you think that the mollies will be nerfed at any point, or do you think that that's like intentional?
I don't think so. I mean, I don't think it's intentional, but I don't think it's going to be fixed. I mean, here's the best example of how Valve doesn't fix things. Okay, 8 years after the original glitch, where you would sometimes have a glitch where you could hear someone footsteps in water
across the map. Yes, that one. Yep.
And they fixed it, and they said there's a new bug on Ancient, hearing water footsteps, and it's like, no, this has been in the game since launch on Overpass. And they didn't know this existed until they released Ancient 8 years later. They had no idea.
Yeah, but that's a bug, not a feature. Like the mollies, everybody knows about that because that's just...
Yeah, I guess you're right. But I mean, like in terms of no, you're right. Actually, that is different. Yeah.
I feel like mollies are way more likely to be fixed than those other bugs. Yeah, you know what? You know something about water in CS2 that needs to be fixed is that it fucks your frames. But who cares about
frames,
who cares about like the FPS is like in water running out of T-spawn at Ancient? It's gonna be bad, whatever. The problem is that if you're a B player and the T's are coming B, your FPS tanks because the water is being rendered on yours as well. So you can see people through walls.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah, that's fucked up. Yeah, they'll fix that.
Yeah. But like that's a glitch that they might not know about. They might take a while to be fixed.
If you want these things to be fixed, email them straight out. Email them about it. They read the emails.
It also happens on Anubis. If somebody is like outside the canal in the water,
I saw someone doing
your
it on
FPS
Ancient.
will go down. Yes, Ancient and Anubis both.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. All right. Yeah. It's bad. It's bad. If you want to fix it, email. I meant to make a post about it. I don't know. It's weird, dude. The shit that. I posted a really, I thought, interesting thing on Twitter, and it's gotten the least traction of anything, which is pistol round win rates in CS2 are lower. Or sorry, winning the game if you win both pistols is a lower percent in CS2 than CSGO.
Yes, I saw that stat. It is really
it's got
weird.
Like 100 likes.
And then you had that one guy that was arguing with you.
Oh my god, you reminded me. Oh, that was the dumbest thing I've ever read in my entire life. Oh my god, holy fuck.
You said that the numbers would say that the stats just outright are people who win both pistols aren't as likely to win the game. They're actually like
73% in CSGO, 66 in CS2 so far.
Yeah. And he said what?
Oh my god.
He said there's no such thing as in theory.
Yeah, there's no such thing as in theory. I'll have this on for the VOD. I'll have this on screen. It's like someone who took their first philosophy course. Like, I tried to be nice, but then he made a tweet. I tried to be nice because it was like, this is just a kid. He doesn't know what he's talking about. Or maybe he's like got a point. And then he made a tweet calling everyone responding to him an idiot. And then I was like, I'm going to go a little harder. Yeah, it was bad. It was bad. Oh,
yeah, that one was bad. But you know what? Let's talk about it. That stat is actually very interesting because I've noticed that you would think that it would be like a night and day difference. Like, oh, people who win both pistols are probably winning 80% of games. Like, you would think it would go up, not down. But why?
Well, okay, so just for some context for anyone wondering, generally, as far as CSGO win rates go, the win rates, if you win both pistol to win the game, every time I've looked, has been somewhere between 65 and 70. So the first question is, why was it higher near the end of CSGO? Is that just an anomaly because I only looked at 200 games, or was it actually going up and up and up? Because that could help explain things. The options are, and I'm going to give you these options, and you tell me if these are right or which one it is, or if I'm off base. Number one, the better team is not winning pistols as often. As in CSGO, pistols were not that random. So generally, if you were better, you won more pistols, and thereby you won the game more, right? So if Vitality is playing a tier 3 team, they're going to win both pistols a very high % of the time, and they're going to win the game either way. So those two things tend to line up. And in CS2, it's not, right?
I don't think that that's the answer.
Okay.
Keep going.
That's just one. That could explain a lot of it. Well, it could explain some of it.
Except it's not what happens in practice.
Okay, so number 2, there is the thing about the dualies no longer, this goes on to that. The dualies no longer don't show any tracers through smokes, which is part of, which made them even better in CSGO. So that would make them pistol rounds more random in theory, I guess. I don't know.
No, I think that's too
okay,
dank.
Number 2, teams were misutilizing economy.
That's the one.
Yeah.
That's because I think that's what it was.
Yeah.
Before you even say any more, I know for a fact this has to be it, because the second round force was so common in CSGO, no matter what, if you lost. In this game, it's full eco.
Yeah.
So instead of going down 3-0 like you would in CSGO all the time, you're only going down 2-0, and then the gun rounds. I'm seeing a lot more 2-1 score lines than I've ever seen.
Well, the third option is that first gun rounds are worth a lot more. And so now it's that whoever wins the first gun round, even if you lost both pistols, if you won the first gun round on both sides, then your odds of going up are drastically higher. That was my other,
Yeah, I think it's the fact that people are full ecoing when they lose pistols now, because you can have an M4 the next round or an AK the next round, and most of the time you're going to have the better guns by a lot than instead of like the second round, like, oh, I have Galils, they have MP9s. It's like, if you full eco, now you have AKs and they still have MP9s.
Yeah. Okay, so here's another question then. A lot of people, I've seen this complaint a bunch of times, that pistol rounds are too important. So do you think that the fourth option, by the way, for this pistol round idea is that the second rounds are less guaranteed if you force buy, as in CTs winning against the Ts after a bomb plant is now less likely. So the pistol round means a bit less because the second round means a bit more. And that would also explain that I've seen a lot of complaints that now pistol rounds are too important, which makes MR12 too random. Maybe the second round matters more because you're less likely to win when they do force. And that, by extension, feels like pistol round. You know, like, if you're analyzing it, it's like, that's not pistol round. What are you talking about? But it feels fucked because it's like, okay, so we got the bomb plants. We're going to force second round. And if we lose this, we're double fucked. Like, so it feels like an extension of the pistol round. You know what I mean? Like, or do you think players are just like pushing the criticism of MR12 itself onto pistol rounds? Or do you think that there's some other reason that pistol rounds feel more important, even if they're less important, or like, you know?
I think people think pistol rounds feel more important because historically people just associate with winning pistol means 3-0. Winning pistol means 3-0 almost every time. So they think if you win both pistols 6-0, MR12 only have to win 7 rounds after that.
Yeah.
And it's like, people just feel like, I mean, that was one of the things I was worried about when MR12 was added to the game. I was like, oh no, pistol rounds are going to be more important. But if anything, I feel like they're less important because it doesn't matter. Like, there's been a lot of scrims and even matches that I've played where we've won the pistol versus the better team, and both of them, and we just lose. And it's like, not because we're bad, it's like genuinely because we win the pistol, then we play against full eco, and then the next round we're getting toasted because they have better guns than us by a lot. And then
the bonus round is kind of gone, right? Isn't it?
Yeah, the bonus round doesn't exist anymore, really. I mean, it can, but I mean, it doesn't. Not in.
It doesn't exist because if you're playing third round, you just haven't stacked up enough money. As long as they got like 1 or 2 kills on round 2, right?
Yeah, and since that's how it goes, like when you lose to like, let's say it's T side and you lose that round versus M4s, they get to keep their M4s. Chances are, most of the time, they're gonna just have 5 M4s across the board. They'll, you might get 2 kills. Now they have better guns, and now you would think like, oh, now we're coming back with AKs, but not normally. If you don't get the bomb down, you're coming back with Galils again, and it's like you're just in a bad situation, and then you lose that. Now you're saving, then now you're losing, and then it just becomes like more of like a, I don't know. I think that the fact that teams are willing to just say, all right, fuck it, let's take a full eco now it's helping the game a lot.
Okay, so what do you think about so MR12 is like obviously a bit more random. I felt like from my playing, it feels like there's no longer any ability to be like, was that a lucky round or was that like them being better? I feel like the need to make adjustments every time something goes wrong is like so much greater now compared to before, where it's like if something goes wrong, it's like, oh, that was one of your 4 gun rounds. Like if you lose another, you fucking
it
thrown
does
the
feel
game.
like it does feel a lot more like you can't make mistakes. Like again, because I'm like playing a lot more like matches, like officials, where the teams are always fucking at your throat. If you are up 10-4 and you make a mistake on a gun round, you're not like in CS:GO, you're like, unlucky. It's fine. And, like we were allowed to lose the one round. We still got so many rounds. In CS2, you're like, oh my God, they're going to come back now. And it just feels like it's so much closer. Like even if we're up 11-5, I still feel like, okay, we cannot let any round slip. Though the gap closes so fast. And it's scary sometimes.
It's deceptive.
It is extremely deceptive. Every game is winnable. It was always winnable in CS:GO, but in this game, it's even more so. Like, yeah.
Bro, it's like those CS:GO games,
a lot
man,
of games
where you're like, it's like, oh yeah, it's 12-3. We're just fucking around for a couple rounds. Let's have some fun. We're by dualies this round, and then it's like, and then it's like 12-5, and you're like, all right, time to take it serious. But it's like, then all of a sudden you lose one bad round. It's like, oh fuck, oh, we're losing the game. We're fucked.
That's how it is. But it always feels like, oh fuck, now if you lose one round, there is no, all right, let's fuck around. It's like, oh no, dude.
Yeah. What do you think about? Okay, people have said that this doesn't feel like that big of a deal. To me, this feels like a huge deal. 3 fucking minute halftime breaks. Fuck that, dude. Like
in where are these happening?
Sorry,
in pro matches?
Yeah, in pro games. ESL does 3 minute, and Blast 2, they do 3 minute halftime breaks. It's so fun. With the games, the games are so much more entertaining because anyone can come back at any point. But then you have a 3 fucking minute halftime break. Fuck's sake, dude.
And they got rid of one of the team's timeouts because they acknowledged the games are shorter. But you only have 3 timeouts instead of 4 now.
Okay.
Like they acknowledge that the games are faster, but you still have just as much like airtime on the broadcast. Like analysts are yapping forever. It's like you get way less game. And way more filler, I feel like. If you're just a casual fan who doesn't care about the analysis, if you want to go watch some CS, if you go click any broadcast, 99% of the time, it feels like you're clicking into analysts talking. Or halftime is also a good, And if you get into a game and you're like, it's 5-5, you're like, oh, game's just starting. Oh, ads. And like, oh, dude, I agree. I think they should just get rid of the halftime break. Like give the players the break, but like just have the commentators fill if that's what you want to do. I think running a commercial break is so silly.
I don't, from my understanding, players don't even want the break. What do you even do during a 3 minute halftime break? I've seen so many people comment.
When I competed in CCT, we had 3 minute breaks between every half, and nobody was watching our games. So it was really like, we're ready to go. Like, give us 30 seconds. Okay, sure. Let's talk about a pistol, whatever. But 3 minutes, like, oh man.
I don't think, I don't think any players want that. Like maybe 30 seconds a minute, but at a certain point, it's like
the worst part is when there's tech issues, but not a player tech issue. It's a broadcast issue, and then you have to wait for that.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Okay. I'll say one thing, by the way. I've got this spreadsheet. I updated this spreadsheet because I was wondering how much was Donk. Because if you watch Donk, it feels like he farms anti-ecos like insanely hard. I'm just going to put, this is just like information that I'll throw out there. This isn't actually relevant to anyone unless you were wondering the same thing. It does feel like Donk farms anti-ecos insanely well. I was like, does he just farm anti-ecos harder than he farms gun rounds? He does not. he actually has the lowest increase from kills per round versus buys to kills per round versus anti-ecos of anyone I've looked at. He has a 1.2 kill per round in buy versus buy rounds at Katowice, which is unfucking heard of. That is like so much better than Niko was at ESL New York. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, you know what? Actually, he's actually just him. But there's so many people that are just like, man, he's not that good. If I made this Donk demo review, and there's so many comments that are just like, I don't know. They're like haters, like hardcore haters. I don't understand it. They're like, the people are like, I don't understand why people are acting like this is such a big deal when Niko had the same rating in CSGO. It's like, yeah, but Niko also had way less maps played than Donk, and also it wasn't his first ever event. Like, I don't understand why people are just, I don't know. Like, there's so many Donk haters. Like, people don't like it. I don't know. I find it hard to hate on somebody who's like actually a kid.
So
like, icky.
I think that here's the thing. If you look at Niko today, he looks really different than Donk. Niko, when he first came in like 2015, he played kind of like Donk. Sorry, there's a lot of extra columns. I should delete those.
Yeah.
He played kind of like
Donk.
You looked at it a second ago.
Oh, Spirit at Kato?
Spirit at Kato. Oh, sorry, Spirit at Kato. That is Donk at Kato. That's my bad.
Okay.
I put Spirit because I have the other players below him just to see how much they're doing. Spirit at Kato, Donk. I'm gonna edit it to.
All right. So yeah, versus ecos.
Yeah, it's like it's barely increased, but if you scroll up and you look at kills per round of the other players versus guns versus ecos, like Blame F goes from 0.74 to 1.2. Fucking Niko goes from 0.72 to 1.2. The Glaive goes from 0.63 to 0.8. His increase from 1.18 to 1.24 is like nothing. It's like nothing at all. It's kind of crazy actually how small the increase is, you know? But yeah. If you look at Niko now, so the point I wanted to make that I might put in my video. If you look at Niko today, Niko looks like a player that feels like he's going to be a lot more consistent. He has great crosshair placement. He plays really smart. He does a lot of small things good. And so I feel like if you look at Donk today, you're going to think that Donk, he can't continue doing this. He just can't. But if you look at Niko when he first came into the pro scene, he looked a lot like Donk. The thing is, I don't think Donk can keep up what he's doing. It's just, riflers are never anywhere near as consistent as oppers because rifling is naturally you have to out aim everyone, and that's you can't positionally catch people, you know. I
kind of agree. Like I said in my demo review, is that I think that he is going to always be really, really good, but this 1.7 farming every team thing, that it can't stay, because if it does, then he's superhuman. Like I just don't see a world, because eventually teams are going to start playing to counter Donk. Like they're gonna be like, all right, let's just ignore this guy, like let him do whatever he wants, but we don't want any part of him. Like they will eventually play to like not let him do what he does. Like he's going to get under the microscope. I mean, he probably already is. Look at all of the content creators making videos on him. I'm sure that people are in the lab watching every single move.
Do you think they can counter what he did? Do you really think he can? Because I feel like you can't counter a rifler like that.
I think you can, because I think it's happened historically in the past. Like you can counter a playstyle of a rifler. Like Niko got countered. Like, you know, like because that's really the only person we have to go off of right now is Niko. Like there's not a lot of other like riflers that I think of right away, but like Niko was really good. But Niko's also had times when he's been countered, like he's been avoided, like people won't play into his strengths and won't let him get started. I don't know. I feel like eventually teams will be able to handle him. But right now, I'm sure he's gonna like go into this RMR. He's gonna farm today. You know, I'm sure he's gonna come in and just be him for the next couple of weeks, if not months.
It's gonna fucking suck when he goes in the RMR bombs, and then I put out my video tomorrow or the next day, and it's like already irrelevant.
Yeah. I don't know. Like I said, I always like to hype up like the younger kids in the scene. Like I was a big fan of Monacy. I was like a big fan now of Donk because I want to see like the younger kids, thriving. Yeah. But I don't know. It's hard to say. Like I don't want to prey on his downfall, but I don't think he will be able to keep it up. It's just too unrealistic. There's like a 99% chance that he will not be able to keep it up.
Yeah, so what I was getting to with what I was saying before is that he cannot possibly keep this up. I don't think it's realistically possible. No rifler has the consistency that you're talking about. Even Niko doesn't, because you know what Niko did? He took that insane aim, snappy donk style, and then he developed really sick crosshair placement, really good, like all the best riflers. If people haven't noticed this, I'm sure Austin's noticed this because he's fucking studied the game, but all the best riflers, they generally play off of contact. Like they're low-key baiter. Niko does this a lot. He lets his teammates like kind of put a bit of they play off pressure as well, but not off contact. Let your teammate make a bit of pressure and then find an opening where your opponents aren't quite expecting you. Rops does this all the time. Obviously Blame F does this because he's like classical baiter, but like all the consistent riflers do this shit. The inconsistent riflers don't. They do what Donk is doing because your aim cannot possibly be that good, that much better than everyone that consistently. So he could be the next GOAT of CS, but he's still got to develop the Niko style, good crosshair placement, backup. He's got to have a plan B, plan C.
Yes.
And then he can be the GOAT when he has these games and he just takes over games, like a third of games, he just takes them over. And then a third of games, he's like really, really good, but it's like doesn't rely on just
it's like when like Niko was exactly like you're saying, he was Donk, but eventually he kind of cashed in a little bit of the flashiness to be more consistent. Yeah. And I think that was a good choice for him.
Yeah. I
think that's the objective, better decision is to be like, okay, maybe instead of these 1.6 games and then a 0.9 game, I'm just going to take both of them and now I'm just going to average a 1.3 or 1.4 for both games. I feel like that's more likely. This guy said Donk isn't flashy. LOL.
If you look at the wrong game, you're gonna think Donk is. If you look at that overpass game, he's not flashy. If you look at the nuke game, he's flashy as fuck, right?
Yeah.
It depends on the game you're looking at. I think
he's not just running around one digging people, that kind of flashy. What you're thinking of, like he is flashy. He's just not. I don't know. It's kind of hard to say because when I think of flashy, the first thing I think of is oppers hitting like insane flicks. I don't really think of a rifler that's like super flashy. But I don't know. I think he is. He is and he isn't. Because he also has a switch where he is able to play like a lot more reserved. Like, I don't know.
Well, like the overpass game is a game I'm thinking about where his aim was not all that on point, but everyone was missing on him, which might be partly due to him. But I think that's a game where like he could have gotten run over if people were hitting better shots on him. It kind of just that's how it goes when you have the best fucking event of all time. I'm not hitting my best shots game lines up with I'm not hitting my best shots either game, right? And they line up and you
the
still
problem
do well,
is that yes, I want to say that you're right with that, but at the same time, like it's not like he hasn't just been like, it's not like he's like some random person that's right, like he's been farming, farming. He is like posting those Zywoo numbers coming in, like everybody was like, oh, Zywoo is 1.4 in every game he plays in tier 2. How's he going to do in tier 1? Everybody did the same thing for Donk, except Donk's been doing like, like there's like consistency here. It's not like he is an Inters, like we said earlier, like Inters isn't coming in with a 1.7 randomly or X7 at the major, like randomly just being one of the best players. Like he's not doing that where it's like, oh, this guy's randomly him. No. He's been him in everything he does. I don't know. It's hard to say. I kind of have a feeling that he.
Yeah, people are saying, by the way, his crosshair placement's pretty good. I'm not. When I say crosshair placement, I mean like Niko's crosshair placement. You can like look at it and be like, yeah, this guy is just fucking. I feel like there's something about Niko's like game sense and crosshair placement that it's like this is gonna work the way he's doing it. It's gonna work in every game. Whereas I look at Donk and I'm like, is this gonna be consistent? It doesn't look like it's gonna be consistent, but maybe. I don't know. Maybe he doesn't. Maybe it can be consistent. I don't know. There's something about looking at Niko's gameplay that just looks like
it's more by the book. I know what you mean. Like it's just like when you look at it, you're like, yes, this is great. I should try to play like him.
Yeah.
But I know what you mean. I watched the Donk game and I'm just like, he is aiming in the right area generally, but he is hitting a lot of flicks to compensate. There's a round on Nuke in the review where he peeks back garage, like where Rain is supposed to be, but he's not even close, and he just flicks and kills him instantly, like the same speed as if you pre-aimed him.
Yeah.
There's a lot of moments like that.
His spray is insane, right? Like,
yeah,
that's what I feel like people are missing. His aim is insane, but also his spray is insane. So if he doesn't hit you in the head, he's 5-shotting you in the body 100% of the time. So it's like, it's not like Scream where it's like, oh, I hope he doesn't hit me in the head, then he's a free kill. Like, it's like, I hope he doesn't hit me in the head, and then I hope I can spray him in the body better, or I have to hit him in the head. And it's fucking crazy.
Yeah, Donk is just better mechanically than most people he's fighting. Like, if you take a Rain, which I think Rain is probably one of the best riflers of like in the world, even though I have a big bias towards him, I do think objectively
a big bias.
Looking at the stats, I feel like Rain is very underrated. Anyway, so if you look at Rain and Donk, and they duel each other every round, there's rounds where Rain will sit him down. There's rounds where Donk will sit him down. But if they both miss the insta headshot, Donk will kill Rain every time.
Yeah, I think that. Yeah,
that's the difference.
That is
the difference. That is the difference between him and every other player right now. I feel like he just doesn't miss.
Is that why his smoke spams are so sick? Because it's like, if I'm spamming a smoke, I'm like 8 bullets in. I'm like, maybe if I was on the right spot, he's dead. 8 bullets in. And Donk's just like, 4 bullets. He's dead if he was there. Done. Like, next angle. If I was hitting him, he's dead now.
Yeah, if I was hitting him, he's dead. Yeah, that might be it. I mean,
I saw him spray from fucking Zywoo to red box someone crossing. Was that in the same
he
game?
Got a 2K.
He sprayed
the same round.
People from
it
Zywoo.
Was the same round.
What the fuck is that, dude? Like, that is unfucking believable. Was it even with the? I hope it was an A1S.
It was A1S.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah,
I was
it was
like,
the same round. He got the 2 kills through the.
That was
smoke.
So bullshit, dude. That's like, I do that spray because I'm a fucking idiot and I spray.
Yeah, and you
and I
might kill like one guy.
Yeah,
maybe.
Oh my god. Dude.
Yeah, no, he's really good. Yeah, it's kind of sickening if you think about it.
Oh man, I made this as a tweet, and I really hope people realize it, that it's pretty much like, I feel like Donk is gonna make people realize, although his game sense is so good, but like, I hope Donk does make people realize that just playing smarter doesn't guarantee that you win things. Like, I feel like maybe because Donk is so much better in terms of just like recoil control and head, just shooting people, that like maybe people will finally realize that like if he has a first person shooter and like you aim does matter. It's not like, I just feel like for the entirety of CS, it's always been like, this narrative has always been like, if you play smarter, you're gonna win, and whoever was the better team wins. And it's like, man, come on.
I agree with that, but I don't, because then there's exceptions randomly. Like, you can have the best round of all time and still, like, team wise, have the best round and still just lose. Yeah. Because you still have to kill people in the game. Like, you still have to. And if you're not shooting, like, you could be in the worst situation of all time. I'm full blind, fighting like this exec coming in, but as soon as I'm unblind, if I hit 3 1-digs, we win. Yippee.
Yeah.
It's just like, skill will always play a factor in the game and who wins.
Donk does play super smart though. I mean, well, his like, I don't know, smart is the right word. His vibe, his feeling for the game, dude, is unrivaled. Like, he's like Zywoo except aggressive. He really is like Zywoo except more aggressive. He just knows, dude. He fucking knows, dude. It's ridiculous.
Yep.
I know he did have some bad games. Like he got farmed by I almost said Spirit. Virtus Pro in a couple of series, I think. I think the thing is that you have to have a rifler that, like, it has to be like Donk has to have a game where he's not headshotting everyone instantly, and you have to have a rifler that can headshot him back, and then you can kind of like sit him down, a little bit.
Yeah. I mean, when I watched, some of the events, like, Donk doesn't just win every fight either. Like, he does have a lot of rounds where he just dies. Like, I feel like people are also kind of like making it this narrative that Donk is just killing everybody that's on his screen, but that's not actually true. Like, he does die a lot. and it still doesn't matter because Spirit's still a good team and with a bunch of other good players that can make up for that sometimes. But I don't know. It does help a lot when Donk is like what 60% of rounds. He's just probably getting 2 kills.
Yeah, he dies, but he almost never, it feels like, dies without getting one, you know, like a massive portion of the time. Like his entry frag percent, he gets the kill 74% of the time if he makes first contact, which is fucking unbelievable. That's higher than op entry frag percent.
What did you say, 74? Is that what you said?
74%. So if he basically, if he is the first kill or first death, he wins that 74% of the time, which is
so if
better
he takes
than
the
most
opening
operas.
engagement in the round.
Yeah, he wins at 74%, which is better than most operas.
It's better than every opera, isn't it?
I'm not sure. Can you see this exactly on hltv? This is like a ridiculous stat. It's like
it's not really that ridiculous. I mean, I feel like that. Yeah, like that sounds about right. Like that's insane.
Yeah.
Because I know people were talking about Niko's was good when he had like 60%. You're like, oh, Niko's has 60% entry success, which means that he's winning more than 50% of the, like, you know, half the rounds he's just winning. And like 74%.
And that's
like,
that's gun versus gun, by the way. That's why it's significant. That
yes,
you can win a lot of free and like on anti
versus ecos, right? Yeah.
Those are like free. He does definitely die on a decent amount of rounds. But then he just wins rounds on his own too. It's like that's the nature of being a rifler, though. Sometimes you're just gonna get fucking owned. Like,
I don't know. I guess when it comes down to it, I kind of hope that Donk doesn't keep farming because eventually it will be boring.
Yeah.
But I would like to see it for a little bit. You know, I like having that guy. It was always fun to have like the Zywoo, you know, of the event. It's like, oh, but how will they do against this guy? Like this team is really good, but how will they do against this guy? Who's gonna shut him down? Like there was always like a fun narrative of like one player versus a team.
What is it now? Who's he fighting against in CS2? Zywoo,
like
Mauisnake?
FaZe. Well, I mean other players. Yeah, probably Zywoo, Mauisnake, maybe Rops, I guess, but Rops is opposite roles, so
yeah. Rops is like the classical, like I feel like Rops is like the classical rifler, as in he plays off of pressure. He doesn't create the entire round on his own.
Rops is just a lurker. He's like a modern day lurker, basically. Like the old fashioned lurks, like of 2015, like the get rights and the happy stuff, which by the way I never saw, I just heard about. That style doesn't exist anymore. But he is the closest that you're going to get to that in the modern era, where he's very alone, but he knows how to like play off of what's happening across the map. He's like a lurker that makes sense, like a smarter lurker.
Yeah. Would Prime Astralis dominate today?
No.
Okay, sorry. Fuck, because we're in CS2. Would Prime Astralis dominate?
No.
In 2023 CS2? CSGO? No?
No.
Why not?
Why would they? They set the precedent for what a team needed to be good, and all the teams took that as like the skeleton. You needed to play like 2018 Astralis in order to even compete at tier 1, let alone 2023.
Yeah, but was any team ever playing nearly as perfect as Astralis in terms of like flashing consistently, always having support for their players? Like, no team really built around that. They all still played it like they learned, but they stayed puggier, you know?
Yeah, because I think that Astralis was too good as a team to a fault many times after their dominant run started to end. Yep. They played way too structured, and sometimes teams they were a little more loose just kind of ran through them. I think that Prime Astralis always had one team that would always counter them, which was FaZe. Historically, there was always the matchup Astralis-FaZe, and that seemed like at the time, because I watched every pro game back then, it seemed like at the time, FaZe was the only team that actually was able to consistently take maps off of Astralis, if not win. And I think that's because they had a lot more individuals that could shut down the team stuff. And now every team seems to be a FaZe super team of 2018-19. So that style just doesn't really work anymore. It does work, I mean, but I'm just saying like its style's not as like they wouldn't have dominated 2023. In fact,
too organized.
They would have probably struggled to even be top 10 in 2023.
That's a strong statement.
I don't think so. Because they set the groundwork and teams really expanded on that in 5 years. Yeah. Like I remember learning how to play like Astralis, and then like eventually being like, okay, that stuff's no good anymore because everybody knows how to play against that. Like they're the first teams that started double nading stuff, and like the first team that started to like flash peek everything that they did. And now every team does that. I could go play a random main team in North America at the end of CS:GO and be getting double naded and full flash XX. It's like, what? Like, but that's the kind of stuff that Astralis started, and now everybody knew how to do it, plus expand on it.
Yeah, but you know, Astralis was still like amazing at the end of 2019. That's like a full 2 years later after everyone was already learning from them, right?
And then what happened?
Well, then they lost Device.
Well, before they lost Device, they also started to not be as good.
Yeah, with COVID and everything online, but that was like
Blastralis.
Yeah, but they were still, that was 2019. Blastralis, they still won the like 2 majors after that, right? Or at least one.
Yep.
If you give them time, okay, let's not say that they're porting
time to adjust.
If you give them 3 months, 6 months to adjust.
I mean, maybe top 10 then. I don't think they would dominate.
Maybe top 10?
You're really underestimating how good those CSGO teams were at the end.
I don't know, man.
Think about some look. Where do people learn the most from these days? It's not tier 1, I'll tell you that much.
They learn it from youtube.com/VooCSGO.
Or youtube.com/AustineCS. That's where they're learning the most. But actually what they're learning from is tier 2. That's where all of the original ideas are coming from. Think of a random team. Like, okay, let me go grab a team from the top 20 that I guarantee would farm that Astralis. Hold on. No, not that one. Okay, let's look at this Bet Boom team. Okay, this Bet Boom team was probably not around back then. None of these players were competing during that time, right? I don't think any of them were, at least not at tier 1 or tier 2. Like Nafny, Chiron, Siren. None of those guys were like active around then, right?
I don't think so.
Right. This team would probably flatline that Astralis, and they're 20. They're ranked 21st right now.
You're under. Okay, so the reason I kind of disagree.
But you know what?
With
actually,
this,
hold on. Let me. I forgot my entire point was. Let me look at the end of CS:GO, which was like August, right?
Yeah.
All right. Okay. August of last year.
Some of those players were like in tier 2 teams in like 2019, 2020, but they were like not at their.
Yeah. Okay. Here's a team. This Mouse Sports team, or even this Monty team, either one of them that competed in the Paris Major.
Okay.
Already probably more structured by a long shot than that team, that Astralis was, and more mechanically talented than almost. I would say almost their average on Astralis. If you're saying peak every player or peak the team, because peak every player is going to be hard to argue.
I'd say peak the team.
Peak the team. I think individually these guys are probably on par, if not some of them being better than peak the team. It's hard to say, man. I don't think that they would be as dominant. So they would still be good, but they would not just be the best team in the world. I don't even think they'd be top 5. I really don't.
So here's the thing. I give less credit to the teamwork, actually, than I think you're giving. Because I look back at Astralis like 2015, 2016, and they were insanely organized in terms of using utility better than any other team. In my opinion, 2014 Astralis, Dignitas, when they just made their fucking trios at next to pre-device, they were throwing better utility than any other team out there by a fucking long shot. And I remember watching and wanting to learn from these teams. But you know what? Nobody gave a fuck because they weren't shooting enemies in the head good enough. So nobody fucking cared, because using good utility might get you some kills, but it doesn't really make you the best. You know, it might make you from top 10 to top 5. You're
always going to have the firepower to back it up.
Yeah. So when I rate top prime Astralis, I'm looking at them using really sick utility, but also their players were incredibly good. Right?
Yes, and I agree. But the problem is that you're not I don't think you're understanding how good teams got on average at the end of 2023. The good utility was like insane because no other team was using it back then, really. The good mechanics is a must to even get acknowledged from a top team these days. Like, they were playing with fucking Zipex. Like,
he was good, bro. He was good for a while.
But he Exactly. But Zipex, no. Like any random player from a top 10 team would just own Zipex. I would bet you that, except for Hooksy or Kerrigan. I'm telling you that like everybody's like, I don't know, man.
I think
Zipex was a good team player. He's not like an insane aimer.
He wasn't an insane aimer, but because the team was so, here's the thing, because the way I see it is that he was so good on Astralis, not because he was like, he wouldn't have done that on almost any other team. He was the closer. He was, because his team was so good, he could get himself into these clutches that were semi-winnable without really doing all that much. And then he was the best player ever. So it was like, in the specific role he was allowed to play within Astralis, he was the best in the world at that.
Exactly, I agree. But by modern standards, end of 2023 CSGO, no.
The thing is, the early round utility, I agree with you. Other teams really caught up to that. But there's something more to it in terms of using utility when the rounds break down, that Astralis was still perfectly using their utility and getting themselves into amazing spots that I don't think you can teach.
Maybe not, but I still feel like on average, a lot more teams are still up to that par than we're giving credit to.
End of 2023, I'd put them top 3.
Oh, absolutely not. Are you serious?
I put them ahead of Maus.
Ahead of Maus, yeah, but Maus was ranked 15.
Sorry, let me look at, I'll look September 2023.
Yes, look at that, and
you got Vitality, Ents, I put them ahead of Ents, 100%.
Ooh.
G2?
No way.
G2's tough. I'd put them around G2. I'd put them around G2.
Are you serious?
So, yeah, like top 5. Yeah, 100% top 5.
Absolutely not.
Bro, they're Astralis with Device, fucking Borup, Blame F, Stare, and Buzz was 5th in September 2023.
Yeah,
you're telling me a Prime Astralis couldn't beat that? You're telling me Prime Astralis couldn't beat Device, Borup, Blame F, Stare, and Buzz? You're really telling me that, Austin? You really look me in the eyes. Look me in the eyes.
Yeah, but
tell me they couldn't beat that roster.
I don't know why they're even ranked 5th. What did they do?
I don't know. They got ranked 5th is what they did. Look at the point drop off, dude. Look at the point drop off. Heroic has 733. Astralis is 382. They're
Is this when CS2 came out?
No, CS2 came out. Oh yeah, it is. Like it came out right after.
Go back to August. Let's try again.
Hold on. How about September 18th? Because that's before CS2. I think CS2 came out September 28th. I think.
All right, let's look at this. September 18th.
Vitality, Ents. They're better than Ents. G2, I'd put them similar level. Heroic might have better teamwork. I'd take that. Still, you got Astralis right there. Astralis is right there. There's no way old Astralis didn't beat this new Astralis, bro. There's no way. There's no way old Astralis didn't beat these guys. No.
They got 3rd through 4th at Cologne.
Bro. No shot.
And then they got 3rd through 4th at a Pinnacle Cup. Oh, great. The only reason that they're 5th is because...
That just proves my point, bro.
No, the only reason they're there is because they have more points than everybody, and those points are from
events how did they get more points, Austin, by winning?
Those points are from events that other teams weren't even playing.
Okay, I put them Heroic, G2, and FaZe. I think they'd have good games against. Whether or not they win, I'll take arguments. Any team worse than those 3 teams, they're beating.
All right, here's what I think. I think Vitality beats them, Ents beats them, G2 beats them, Heroic beats them this version.
Ents,
100%, buddy.
Ents is just budget Astralis, bro.
Sun Pius would wipe the floor with Device. I don't want to hear it.
No shot. No shot. No shot. No. Nope. Nope.
Snappy's a better IGL than Glaive by a long shot. A long shot.
Oh no.
Yes.
You're high.
No, and then G2 would just outshoot them easily. Heroic would be a better team all around. FaZe, of course, would dumpster them. Let's not even talk about that. Astralis, that version of Astralis with Blame F, Stare, Buzz, Borup, and Device. I don't even know why they're ranked 5th. They would lose. That's the only team in the top 10 that I think would genuinely lose to the old Astralis. Cloud9 with Electronic Hobbit, Exile, Shiro, and Perfecto probably still beats them. This Navi roster with JL, Bit, Ema, Alexi B, and Simple would probably beat them. Gamer Legion maybe loses, but to be honest, probably not because actually they have Nealon on this roster. Yeah, no, they would have fucking lost. Okay, so maybe they would have snuck in at the top 10. Maybe, but I really don't think so.
The only reason Device wasn't ahead of Sun Pius in 2023 is because he was on fucking Astralis.
Yeah.
Device 2023, I take him over SunPass. Okay, it's.
Where is
there's a
Device
debate.
right now?
There's a
You
debate.
tell me.
There's a debate. That's CS2. It's a different game. Doesn't count. I don't want to talk about it. In 2023 in CS:GO, you can't tell me there's not an argument between SunPass and Device that SunPass blows him out of the water.
And 2023 to 2018, yes.
No. But like Device in 2023, who isn't in his best form in 2023. He was in worse form than he was in 2020 or 2018.
Yes, and
2023 Device. What?
23 Device, 23 Sampaius. It's not close. Sampaius is better. Stop it.
No.
You're really thinking that washed up Device is better than best?
Bro.
Okay, you think that less than ideal Device is better than Sampaius?
No, I think he's not getting blown out of the water. You're like rating Sampaius as like unbelievably better. I think if you put Device on Ents instead of Sampaius, he would perform similarly. Keep in mind he had to play with the roster that we just listed. The roster with Borup and Buzz and Stare.
Yeah, well, that roster is less than ideal, but he probably should. No, I'm standing on this. There's no way that version of Device is better. If that's the case, then why wasn't he performing then? He had all the he could still like a bad.
He was
hopper,
playing with those shitters, bro.
Hopper can always make a game winnable if he's really good.
Look at his stats against top 5, top 10 teams. He way better than SunPass in 2023.
It's just because he had way less games.
Yeah. Explain. Go ahead.
Okay, well, who won more?
Yeah, does that make Glaive the GOAT? Is Glaive the GOAT IGL,
no,
Austin? Is Glaive the GOAT? No. You're either being a hypocrite or Glaive is the GOAT IGL.
I'm not saying who won more tournaments.
Which one is it, Austin?
I'm saying who won more matches. Think about it. If you win more in a tournament, you're going to get more matches against top 5, top 10 teams. Astralis was probably going out last most events.
Device had more games against top 10 teams than SunPass.
Is that true, or are you just saying that?
He had 49 to 46. He had less against top 5 teams, 25 versus 36. He was playing with fucking Astralis, man. He was playing with the shitters in Astralis.
Here's the problem. Okay, you're not even believing this. You're just saying this to get me going. There's no way that Device is better than Sampaius. Okay, not right now.
Right now is different. All I'm saying is he's not. I didn't even try. I'm starting to make the argument now. Device was better in 2010. Okay. But all I'm saying is you're like SunPass was way better. Is what we started with.
Let's say
Device was arguable with SunPass.
Let's say Sampaius versus Device in his prime is not a clear Sampaius W. Maybe that's the 50-50 part. If Device is the only thing that's going to keep your team from getting destroyed, if he's the one that I'm like, you know what, maybe Glaive he can compete.
Glaive would run circles around Snappy in terms of fragging. IGLing wise, it's a wash.
Okay, we'll take that. Okay, Glaive does shoot harder than
not even. It's like harder as in like top 10 player versus top 500 player.
Yeah. Okay. I will take that. But let's stop using Ents as an example. Let's use the actual best team. Let's use.
Is there a sec? Hold on.
Vitality.
Is there a player on Ents that's gonna beat Magisk? Nertz, Maiden?
Yeah, probably.
You're not.
Probably. That one's. It's harder to say. I can't be as. Let's talk about the number 1 team in the world from
number 1 team in the world. They have washed
Vitality.
Magisk. So Magisk beats Magisk every time.
No, he doesn't.
Magisk owns Magisk. Okay. Same thing with Glaive and Apex, as Glaive and Snappy. Zywoo, obviously. Flames and Sphinx. It's a wash.
Sphinx is really good.
Magisk doesn't even have to compete against Magisk. Magisk beats Sphinx.
Magisk is playing Magisk is playing himself.
No, I think you compare him because he's the second best player. He beats Sphinx. He doesn't play against himself. He plays against Sphinx. Where that's how we're gonna line him up. And he owns Sphinx. Owns him. He owns his ass. Okay?
No, he doesn't.
He owns it.
I'm not. You're losing me here. This 2018 roster was
okay.
Not
Yeah,
that
I know. I put Vitality as like they would probably beat Astralis, but G2, FaZe,
No.
Heroic would be an interesting one, but G2 and FaZe I think are interesting matchups. Those would be
No,
interesting
G2 and
matchups.
FaZe would just beat them. Heroic is interesting. ENCE would be interesting. Every other match would be 50-50, I'd say.
G2 and FaZe, I'd take the argument that they win, but I feel like maybe that's where you would really test it. How much better is 2023 CS? Because on paper, I think that on paper, G2 probably should beat 2018 Astralis. And by the way, just to clarify, when I say 2018 Astralis, I mean 2018 Astralis, but we're giving them some time to practice. Like they're coming up to the meta a little bit. All right.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I think that would be the most interesting one because that is a team that if they were in 2018, like a playstyle like Monacy is the type of playstyle that could dismantle Astralis.
That's what I'm saying.
Kerrigan, to your point earlier, Kerrigan did say, just if you ever want to use this as an argument, I have so many back pocket arguments for Kerrigan GOAT status. It's unbelievable. He said, teams play wrong against Astralis. You don't want to try and beat them by being more smart. You want to beat them by being more random. And on LAN, best of threes, Kerrigan had a winning win rate against Astralis.
That's what I said.
In their prime, yeah.
I even brought that up. I said there was the only team that would consistently give them trouble, and that's because that play style became more and more meta as we got more into CS. All these teams would play like that version of FaZe. Astralis would be in a lot of trouble, man. It's not like they would just immediately be like GOAT status. They'd be in a lot of trouble. I don't see them just being able to pick it up.
A lot of trouble, sure, okay, but you're like, I wouldn't even put them in the top 10. Like,
I wouldn't.
That's what I'm combating against here. I'm not combating against would they be the best team ever if they played in 2023.
Look, okay, I'll give you this. They could sneak into top 10.
They could sneak into top 5, motherfucker, okay? If a device, Borup, Blame F, Stare, and Buzz can be top 5, 2018 Astralis can do it.
That game, these rankings are just bad, though, because the game was dead at this point. There was no competition since the summer. Yes, no. Go to July, whenever the major was. July? Yeah, July.
What about August, though? Because that includes the results of the major. Yes,
okay, then let's do August.
Device, Borup, Blame F, Stare, and Buzz is number 6. There's just no arguing.
What did they do?
What results? Astralis is so much better than this team.
What results do they have? I don't understand.
Just keep showing up, bro. They're the ghost of Christmas past.
Dude, they're not. No, they were not a top 6 team. They just weren't. At no parts of their career were they top 6. I refuse to believe this.
Hate it. Run from it. Blame it for them.
Their results were bad. Their results were literally bad. They had one top 4 at Cologne.
Yeah. Oh, well, you know, they're a top 6 team, buddy. if 2018 Astralis could beat them, and we know they could, then 2018
Let's just say hltv ranking might be a little flawed because they would never, ever in a million years beat that roster. July.
You're telling me they couldn't beat NAF, OC, Akindar, Rainwalker, and Patsy? Come on.
Probably they could maybe, but I don't know. It's hard to say.
Yeah. They're top. They're fighting for top 5.
Absolutely not.
Worst case, they're fighting for top 5.
Gamer Legion was on a heater, bro. They would have put them down. NIP suck, honestly. You know what? We'll give them top 10, but they're not competing top 5. I feel like this Apex team would even put them down to, like, I don't know, man. It's really tough. This roster is still here somehow. Top 10 for some fucking reason.
Yeah. So 2018 Astralis is.
But I just don't understand because I feel like these rosters on paper are just so much better. All the ones under Astralis are like way, way, way better. I don't know, man.
That's because even in 2023, Astralis still had that Danish coordination that you're underrating.
Right, man. That's why Heroic was the best team in the world at this point.
And that's Heroic is not a team that had the best players.
Let's take a look at this. Would Prime Astralis beat this Prezi team that's been playing? Hold on. Let me tell you this. This is the roster. Dupree, Refresh, Roy, Altex, and TMB. This team is a team that I feel like they would lose to.
No.
Really?
I think you're underrating just how much... We talked about this earlier. CS is a game where mechanics make a big difference, and you can outsmart people and still lose. And Astralis understood that. That's why replacing Kerrigan with Glaive was such a big change, because Glaive is this insane fragger, and they already had like they already had all of this coordination. They needed the fragging to bring them over the top, and then the coordination is what made them perfectly consistent. It's without the aim, they weren't going to change everything, because teams would just be like, well, they're just playing two. This is what teams were thinking in like 2015. They play too coordinated. It doesn't give their players enough room to work. You know, like we don't need to adopt this because they're not the best. And then as soon as they're the best, everyone says we have to adopt this.
Yeah.
You look at 2018 Astralis, they're just blowing these guys out of the server aim-wise, even before you look at tactics and all this other stuff, in my opinion. TMB and Altex and Refresh couldn't even make it in EG.
That's that Danish coordination, though.
Refresh got kicked from EG, buddy. I think. I don't remember.
I think he probably left. He probably pulled up. I don't think he did he?
He was bad.
I got to play an official against that roster.
Yeah.
We got 9 rounds against them.
Because Refresh was bad, right?
Yeah, he walked out A against me, and I one-digged him once. That was about all I remember.
Fucking owned. Easy.
Yeah, that's all I remember.
Put that in your frag clips.
Maybe I will, buddy. What's good?
Do it.
I did actually upload it. Anyway, so
yeah,
I uploaded it at a Deagle
Austin,
4K.
Let me say, if JW can have a resurgence in CS2,
has he?
Yes, he's actually had a bunch of really sick games. If JW, who was not good in 2018, can have a CS2 resurgence, you're telling me peak 2018 Astralis wouldn't be top 5? Come on.
What's this resurgence you're talking about? He still looks like he's not playing that well to me.
Let me look again. He had a few really sick games. He fucking dumpstered Smooya's team.
Oh no, not Smooya's team.
Isn't Smooya like really sick in CS2? Look, yeah, he had a big resurgence for like from October until just before their last few games. until they beat Smooya. Smooya took away all JW's power. Look from the Witchers to November to, so like 3 months. Like, that's a good 3 months, right? Look, I'll show
yeah, that's not bad.
It's a good few months.
That's a good run. That's a good run. He definitely rolled the years back a little bit. Except the problem is that these stats are, most of them are, this is from, what is this, July?
What's from July?
Yeah, these are 23, like early 23. He's only played a couple of CS2 officials, supposedly. Yeah, he's only played...
No. That's day, month, year. So that's December.
Is it?
Yes.
You're right.
Because we the
enlightened brain.
The enlightened.
Yes. You're right. Why is it like that anyway? Yeah.
Smaller, bigger, biggest?
Yeah, I guess so. He's been playing good up until that game, yeah. Then he played Mouse. Then this para team, I thought people were saying we're cheating. I brought that up yesterday.
Really?
People said that this team was like a cheater team. Is that true? Can somebody in chat confirm that? I'm pretty sure they said that this team was like cheating or really sus. Entropic. Who even is Entropic these days?
Fuck it. Did I close this JW tab? God damn it. Here it is.
Howie.
I'm trying to show
Who
it
is
to the
this
stream, so I
guy?
don't have to edit this. Oxygen? That's a cheater name if I've ever seen one.
Yeah. Espionage, he had a good game against. And then, yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I guess he just fell off for the RMR. That was about it. He's been playing good up until the RMR. That's why they didn't make it.
onliner.
I guess so, man. Well, no, this was the online part of the RMR, so. Yeah, I don't know. This guy said the cheating allegations are that someone is feeding them radar info. It was a game versus BNE where they started pre-aiming really weird spots. Yes, I saw the Twitter clips. Yeah, that's right. somebody's giving them radar info is what the accusations are, because
there's a lot of Twitter. Interesting.
There's a lot of very interesting rounds where the things that they did not make sense, but there were people there.
Austin, you know what video you should make? You should make. I used to make these sometimes, and I think they're insanely useful.
Okay.
People really love them. Actually, fuck. Yeah, this would be good content for you to make. Sorry, I was thinking if I was like wanted to make it.
What is it?
Advanced breakdown of maps. So basically, you actually go in and like, here's your win conditions. Here's the areas you want to fight out. As in like beyond beginners. So like you can have like a beginner breakdown of a map, but then you want the advanced breakdown of like, here's like the true win conditions on this map. Here's like the way you'll play this. Here's the setups you want. Like very in-depth, specific, like 30-minute advanced, like in-depth breakdowns. People would.
It does sound like something that I would make.
Yeah, I have a bunch of them.
For Go?
CSGO. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll just go steal them and port them to CS2 for you.
Yeah, that would do pretty good. There's some stuff I could talk to you about. I've been noticing. Content idea was, I don't know. I just gotta. I have to sit down and figure out some content I can make more on a more regular basis. I'm gonna try this donk video and see how it goes. All right, I think we're good for this episode.
I think so too.
When are you going out of town?
Okay, so let me give you a brief schedule. March 15th, that weekend. That's a Friday, so that'll be the 17th. I'll be missing